already had plenty of technical issues behind the scenes before getting started. But really, what I brought people together for is essentially, and I can't see who's waiting in the wings, but nobody needs to wait here for us. For anything special to happen. I'm hoping that Gabriel can hear me and he's in the chat and he can communicate with anybody that's in the waiting room. If they have a specific time that they can only be here for, we'd like to bring people in one-on-one to introduce themselves and their project for maybe 30 to 60 seconds. And I would love to have everybody who is there come through. Gabriel, is anyone else there in the waiting room that would like to start doing that, make some introductions? And then after we've made those introductions, I'll give my own introduction and then we can go from there. So Gabriel's my helper. He's somewhere in Pennsylvania. What we're testing essentially is I'm in Santa Monica, the A16Z office here, and Gabriel, who's in Pennsylvania, will shortly be at 428 Route 6 West in Coudersport, where we're building a studio campus and going to be shooting and greenlighting some films to be shot in and around that area. We'd like that to be our remote headquarters. So what he's actually testing today is whether or not he can perform that function for us, regardless of where these cameras, the events are at. So setting up a sort of live studio broadcast system. And hopefully I'm going to answer questions today for anyone who has them about how they might be able to get their screenplay acquired and into production in the next 3 months with us. Are we good? Gabriel, can you come on and confirm that anybody's in the waiting room who wants to say hello? Or if not, I've got a fantastic guest in person in the studio with me. We can start with Pascal. And we've got PJ on deck.
Just waiting for some messages. If anyone wants to message me, I can.
Okay, good. So Gabriel, while you're listening to me, then essentially, it's no big deal. I just feel bad if anybody's waiting. I already feel bad that PJ's waiting in you know, for in the next room. So I just want to, if there does somebody come on, let me know. Yeah, text them. In the meantime, I'm just going to start with Pascal, and then we'll go from there. But again, the goal for today is to actually answer your questions as a writer. And you know, I met Pascal through Film Freeway. Some other people that are here today might have submitted a screenplay to us about a year ago. At that time, we didn't move forward with any of those projects. I reached out again recently to see if anybody had updated those projects and wanted to continue to resubmit. Pascal was one of them. I'm going to let you, let him introduce himself and his project, and then we'll talk more about how, someone like Pascal can hopefully get their work, in the pipeline with Interdependent. So, sir,
Okay.
Gentlemen, who are you, and what's great about you and your project, and all the rest of it? You know.
Well, I'm Pascal Francho. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer, director, and producer.
The triple threat. Okay.
The triple threat. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you want me to dive in, but the triple threat really is securing your ability to tell your story so that you're not beholden to a machine that sometimes swallows you up.
100%.
And then in this case, Scarlett, I wrote Scarlett specifically for me in my directing career. I've directed other people's projects, but I wanted to do something that spoke to my own self. And so I wrote Scarlett, and Scarlett it's a psychological survival thriller. It's about an influencer who gets her first lead role in a movie to play a femme fatale. It's the last day of rehearsals, and the director is visibly not happy. And he would rather have the actress he had in his last film. So what happens is the actress, her rival, basically gives her a dare to become the character over the weekend before they start principal photography on Monday.
Okay, we're gonna have to unpack that. But which is the part that spoke to you? That you'd rather have the other actress as a director?
Well, no, it's happened to me. It happened to me actually in film school on my first film.
Okay,
I had an actress. My mom's an actress, but I had an actress that my mom helped get, but the actress she helped get wasn't the actress I wanted.
Okay, I'm just making sure they're not messages telling us since we lost mic audio. How's that possible? We're gonna just be. All right. I'm gonna do something here. We might have to rewind on that, but not the whole thing. But let's see. if I do a caffeinate, let's see here. Okay, can you hear me? Nope, audio good, don't worry.
Okay, we're back.
Whatever. So just to reframe, yeah, go
yes.
ahead. Well,
So-
Scarlet, that's your project. It spoke to you. I wanted to know why it
Well,
spoke
there's
to
a
you.
deeper level, which is the things that I like in movies, which is the duality of human existence.
What
How
is
the
the duality?
the
Okay.
choices we make determine an outcome, good or evil.
And you believe that those are choices we make, which is, not
Yes, we make.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so,
So you believe in free
can
will?
You can go to like Bergman's Persona. You can go to so many films. To me, that those are the kind of films I like because
So for those that don't know Bergman's Persona,
it's two actresses who become each other interchangeably.
okay, hence where you get that.
And
Yeah.
then in Scarlet, there's definitely an acknowledgement to Black Swan, where you have two vying for the same role.
Okay. Competition, the spirit of
The
competition.
spirit of
Okay.
competition, and one is a little darker than the other.
Well, what's been your journey? I guess what I'm focused on here is, and just so people know, is I wouldn't call myself a producer. I'm really the head of a studio trying to support independent films makers and their work get made, provide some opportunity that the current system doesn't allow for different reasons.
yep.
So I guess the things that I'm interested in is where you've been with the script, where you've been in your, I said you didn't want to be beholden to a machine, and so you're trying to take back your power. So you learn to direct and produce to try to be able to do that. What's been your experience in trying to get a project made, this project specifically, and maybe
Right.
where you've come from in that journey, and then maybe we can talk about how we can maybe still get across the finish line with it. But what's been your experience?
Well, I've made movies. I've directed a horror film called Milo, another thriller called Triple Dog.
Okay.
I produced Gardens of the Night with John Malkovich as a producer only, not as a writer, not as a director, for a director friend of mine. So I've been in the world, and so as I said with Scarlet, I wanted something that spoke to me,
Okay.
and so in that, in setting it up, it's really, we good?
Yeah, we're good. And I'm going to turn this off. But yeah, here we go. There we go.
It's really about having a script. As they say, the script is God. The script is God. The script has to sing, because you're only
It's not
gonna,
on the script. It's not on the screen.
it's not on the script, not on the screen, and you have to seduce actors. They're gonna have to want to play Becca or Charlotte or Petra, or
Yeah.
they're gonna want to have to play it. So you have to work that screenplay. And for the last year and a half, I just have been writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting. And when I submitted to you, I don't think I'd won any awards yet. And in the last 6 months, I'd just been winning Best Thriller, finalist in all these festivals, in Cannes, in London, and so that is working. And so now I'm right at the point where now I need to get cast attachments.
Okay.
So as a writer,
Well, can I ask?
Yes.
You said sounds like you've been very productive in the last 6 months in the rewrite
Very.
process.
no, even before,
Okay.
yeah.
Has AI been involved in the rewrites, or could you not even say even if it was because you feel bad about,
So, I have
admitting it if it were
I
true?
have used AI in terms of like getting feedback on it, but no AI in my script at all.
So you just had
At all.
an epiphany.
It
of,
was
you know,
already in good shape. It just needed dialogue cleanup
okay.
and just little descriptors, and then I changed locations with it. But
Okay.
I also created something that's self-contained. So it's in a house and it's on a soundstage. And yes, it has a much bigger arena, but it's very producible. It's
Right.
very doable. And so that's intentional.
I think one of the questions I get is whether or not, like, if we have a mandate or we're focusing on a particular genre, and it does seem to be, obviously for obvious reasons, maybe to some genre films or horror films are the place you get started. Having a
Yep.
contained thriller keeps the
Yep.
budget down.
Yep.
You don't have to cast necessarily the most famous actors in a horror movie
Nope.
if it's about the idea.
Doesn't mean you're not going to try and get the best names.
Okay, but has that been also in the ones that you mentioned that you produced? Were they all sort of in that genre vein, or
Well,
Milo and yeah?
you always need some name attachments. Milo a little less. It was a horror film. But then with Triple Dog, we were casting all these, up and comers, Brett Robertson, like then they all have had good careers. It did help with financing, and then with
How did
John
you, were you
Malkovich,
as the producer in charge of acquiring that financing? And
on
or just
Triple Dog, I
producing,
was the
producing?
director producer,
Okay,
but I had other really strong producers.
okay.
But yeah, it was part of the deal of getting a movie made. You
It's
need you
part of
need
the deal.
yeah, it's part of the
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, otherwise you're just sitting back and hoping something happens, and if you're not proactive, you're
What in your experience was what got it across the finish line? Getting
the
the
other
money?
ones.
Yeah. What was the thing that was the reason somebody wrote a check?
It was basically
Be real. Like we want
how
the
how
real,
how,
honest, transparent,
how good the script was, especially for its offering, its
was
genre.
it from an independent financier, from a company that
Both.
invests?
It's been
Okay.
independent financing, production companies, a smattering, you know, someone's private equity.
Okay.
It's been it's never been the
Did they
same.
make any of their
Each
money
one
back?
has a different
Okay.
footprint.
It's yeah, never the
Never
same
the
story
same.
twice. Okay.
And the other thing, and the reason I've been spinning all these screenwriting festivals is because there is an energy to putting it in the world, and you do want some pushback. When I first submitted the early draft, not a response,
Mm.
like with nothing.
Crickets.
Crickets.
That
And
makes sense.
so I'm thinking, okay, so what do I need to do? How do I need to rethink it, rework it, or what am I missing? And then I have a lot of filmmaker friends, and I send it to everyone, my director friends, my producer friends, my writer friends, and I get them to, and then you'll see that there'll be a consistency to the same notes, and you go, I got to deal with
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
I got to fix that.
So I think that what's going to happen basically is this session I think is kind of taking shape, and what it's mainly going to be is me sitting with people talking about themselves, their stories, and hopefully you'll be interested in signing an option or a shopping agreement with us to be able to have other people read your screenplays. So we've had an AI evaluation done. Um, you know, it's from that you've gained the interest of us to want to read it.
Yeah.
We're going to do that next weekend.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, we're going to release the names of the projects that we'd like to go forward with to the next level of
Yeah.
director attachment and then casting. You said you're almost at the part where you're ready to cast, and then the financing and all of that. So we'll probably limit our discussion to the stories themselves. And then in future sessions, we'll talk specifically about how does the money work?
Yeah.
How does the casting work? How does the marketing work? How does the distribution work and all of that?
I mean, the standard issue is it's chicken or the egg. You're not going to get financing usually unless you have cast attachments. Unless it is just a genre piece, you may get financing, but the cast really is what gives you the green light normally.
I like hearing that. We try to solve that problem in a unique way so that
Yep.
hopefully we can greenlight our projects without the need for the A-list celebrities being the only reason by which people were handing over money.
If there is
Mhm.
equity, you can go to anyone. You can go to CAA, you can go to ICM, you can go to William Morris, you can go to anyone. If there is some equity, don't even have to have the full thing, but they have to know. Otherwise, you just get turned away.
Yeah. So I can't wait to dive into that.
Okay.
For now, what we're hoping is
Yeah.
to just find those good stories well told.
Yep.
I've seen, and I usually don't like to see anything other than the script. In your case, I did open the pitch deck and it's really beautiful and a really good, convincing, compelling pitch deck.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be able to actually include that later when we want to show investors and other people like
Yeah.
your project. You do have a really good, a package put together.
And that's also, as a filmmaker, why I shot a little teaser that I financed myself. But if you're not that and you're just a writer, you probably could use AI now to build yourself a little visual, pitch that'll help sell your script.
We have a plan for that too. I think somebody's saying I'm going to bring in the next
PJ
PJ has to go soon. PJ's coming in. You're off, my man. We'll see you again.
All
Thank you
right.
very much,
It's a pleasure.
Pascal. And I'll be right back.
Okay.
Let's go, PJ. How to kill the beast. How to kill the beast. All right.
All right, brother. Dude. All right. Lots of love. Yeah, by the way, late is having.
For anyone in the chat who wants to join, we will be getting you on after this next one.
See you downtown.
Looks like
Let's do a double date.
Still working?
Yeah.
That's good.
Can you check on it?
That's good.
I got a dog in a crate.
PJ, I know. Yes, I know. We were gonna tell us your dog's name.
Batman.
It's fucking Batman. Not even the name of one of the Batman characters. Okay, Batman.
He's Batman.
Batman. All right. Why? There's a story behind that, I guess.
I'll
Right.
show you his picture.
Real quick, while he's looking for the
You'll
picture,
understand.
this is PJ. How to Kill the Beast is his project. I freaking love it. I've already gotten into it. I'm already ready to shoot it if he lets me. And he's got a German Shepherd in a crate that he's waiting to get back home to. Super cute 6-month pup.
in training.
In training. That's Batman. The ears kind of look like it could be
That's what
throwing up the
he
bat
can.
signal, right?
That's
You
what
know, the shadow that'd be perfect.
Yep.
All right. Give us a brief introduction of you and set up your project if you want to give the
Sure,
log line
sure.
pitch, and I'm ready to dig in.
Okay. So I studied English literature and architectural design at Columbia University.
Name, I guess we should maybe start there.
Oh, my name. Sorry, PJ Pesh.
PJ Pesh. Okay.
And then I did a graduate degree also at Columbia, and I studied with Martin Scorsese. I did a short film that I wrote, directed, and acted in. That
So you just ran
won-
over. I studied with Martin Scorsese, then I did a short film, and so we should probably
This
back
short
up and
film
figure
was
out how that
about
went.
an old Italian grandfather who came back from the dead so he could sleep with his grandson's girlfriend. And I got chosen to be in a class with Scorsese. And I thought I was just going to give him the script to show him what I had done, and I'd write something dark and interesting. And he was like, "You have to make this movie." So he actually got, oh Christ, what was his name?
I was going to
Lead
ask because
actor.
his ex-wife, I guess, Barbara. I don't know if she was maybe
Yeah,
was
Barbara
married then.
DeFina.
Yeah,
They were
she
married
recently reached out to me via email saying I want to learn more about Interdependent, and I
you
think
go.
because I also reached out to her in advance. But in any case, those are legends, right?
They are
those people
legends,
are
yes.
legends. You know,
It was
so-
amazing I shot one day with another actor in the lead role, and I was like, "This is terrible." And I went to Marty and I was like, "What am I going to do?" And he's like, "I've seen you act. You can do it." And I was like,
And you're already calling him Marty at that point, or is this in
That's what
retrospect telling the
everybody just
story?
calls him.
Okay.
It's like- it's- I know it sounds to somebody else, it sounds like, "What an asshole," but it's just like, it was our fucking teacher, and he's
Okay.
like, "Hey Marty, what do you think of this?" It's like, that's because that's his name. That's what people
That's
call
fair.
him.
No,
All
that's
of his
fair. That's fair.
people
That's
in his
fair.
office call him that. So anyway, yeah, so I did this short film, and it won a bunch of prizes, and I kind of went all over the world with it. And then I got a deal at Paramount based on that movie.
Shit.
So then I moved out here.
What year would that have been? Who was
That
at
would've been
Paramount at the time?
1990.
Okay, like Brad Gray era, or
No, before that.
okay.
I can't remember. Nat Cannon.
Okay.
And so after a year of me being there and writing these little comedy of manners type scripts, they were like, "Yeah, we don't do those. We do big movies here at Paramount. Like,
The big popcorn stuff.
yeah,
right?
like
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
doing big Eddie Murphy and Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise had a deal there. I'd see him on the lot. I mean, I had a fucking office on the lot.
That's
you know?
sick.
It
That's
was
sick.
crazy.
That's very sick.
They'd
Yeah.
flown me out when I was just like a film student, and I went to this hotel and walked down, and there was Bruce Springsteen by the pool. It just was too much.
It's
you know?
surreal. It's
I
surreal.
have not
Yeah.
lived up to my early promise. believe me.
I like this script. How to Kill the Beast
Yes, sir.
does live up to the promise,
Thank
I think.
Thank
You tell us about exactly what the script is, and I know you alluded to me that it was maybe a little bit dark for some people, and
Yeah.
but tell us the story and
Okay,
how
so
it came to
about
be.
a dozen years ago, I was listening to NPR, This American Life, and this guy told the story of how when he was 7 years old, he was violently raped by a neighbor who was 17.
How did he tell this story?
He told the story
Just
the
out
same way
and
he
said,
told it in a weekly newspaper article where he described how he was going to kill this guy, and it was a step by step.
that he was going to kill this guy because he had been raped. Yeah, been
Yeah.
raped by him,
Yeah.
and it was his plan for vengeance.
Yeah. And he had
Wow.
he had
But he
Yeah,
put
the
that in a
plan-
newspaper article?
Well, what happened was this: he had sort of gone through this situation where he was covering a story where this guy had been murdered, and it brought up all this stuff in him. And then he did a little research, and he found out that he was writing this. He was working in Denver. The guy was living in Denver. Just okay, and he decided he was going to kill him.
He
was
didn't,
gonna
he didn't
use
want the
all
guy
this-
being able to walk around alive anymore.
No,
It's
he
like
was
it-
like, you know what?
why should that guy
You
be able to
took my
breathe?
fucking life. I'm going to take yours.
Wow.
And he used all of his journalistic skills. He tracked this guy. He stalked him. He knew when he walked his dog. He knew what his bowling night was, where he worked, everything.
So
And
this is a somewhat fictionalized account of a true crime drama.
Yes.
How fictionalized is the story, and how much does it
well,
follow
there's a
what actually
lot
happened?
of. I mean, there are literally scenes in it. The scene where David, the main character, sits down with his attacker in a public park, that comes from actual recorded dialogue that David.
Wow, like
did.
straight up, like
Yeah.
this is just a transcript of
It
what was
was, and
actually
then,
said.
and then we
basically.
took it and
Okay,
molded it
A little bit.
and yeah.
wow.
But there are, I mean, a lot of things that come right out of David's story. And then we took this other case, this woman who had actually come to the newspaper and said, my boyfriend was murdered and the police aren't doing anything about it. And I want an investigative reporter and David did. And that case kind of melds perfectly in a like Chinatown way, that we've got this case and it keeps, because it's similar to his own, where this guy had been sexually assaulted as a kid. It brought up all this stuff in David, and he's like flashing back and forth simultaneously between his past and his present.
And that's where I love the distinguishing features. There's one's in color and one's in black and white, and they, that way it's a signal to the audience very in a cinematic way that
Mhm.
what time frame you're in, right?
Yeah,
And so it's David Holt.
Holthouse.
David Holthouse?
Yeah.
So you can look up that story. It's a real story. I'm hoping to be able to present everyone with this screenplay, assuming PJ lets us and David signs off. And it's one of the projects I'm very excited to try to get made. I want to definitely, do you have any questions that you think any yourself or any writer would have of me that you'd like me to answer now at this point? Our idea is to create content to be able to explain to writers who are considering submitting to us, what the process is.
I guess I'm curious as to how that would work if we, sent it out and let a bunch of people just read the script. Are they going to be coming back and going like, I don't like this. I think this is, or how about if you did that? Or is
So-
we're going to get notes from 20,000 people?
So the way that we've set it up, the design of it is that there is one single auteur who's in creative control of the production. That's and we're meant to. I've created the studio such that even we would like to, as much as possible, eliminate the voice of the producer and essentially just be supporting a director who maybe has some producerial skills. But in any case, I do believe in the auteur theory, and I would like for a single person to have creative control and it be their vision that they're attempting to execute. Now, does that mean you won't get opinions or feedback
No,
or
you should.
whatever? You will, and I think we want to do that directly with the audience as much as we can. It'll be my responsibility, I feel like, to filter that information to see where the themes start to present if things are repeated, and then present them to you in a session like this or in another session, or you can look in at the data together, disregard or take in whatever that you think is valuable or not valuable. Probably if something appears a bunch of times, I might hope that you have an answer to that. Even if it's in direct disagreement, it's like, well, no, here's
Sure.
that's what I was thinking. Or maybe in some cases you'll find, oh yeah, shit, I thought I could get
had a
away with
great-
that, and I couldn't get away
I
with
had a
it.
great screenwriting teacher that used to say, if 5 people say there's a horse in the room, there's a horse in the room.
It doesn't matter if there is. If there's 5 people are saying it, there just is.
That's just
you
it
know.
is. And it's like, you could
Okay.
ignore the horse, but he's
Yeah.
in the fucking room.
So something like that. I'll probably steal that phrase for other writers if you don't mind me borrowing that. Frank
He's
Daniel.
great.
We'll credit
He
him
was
with that.
the original artistic director of the Sundance Film Festival, and he ran the screenwriting department at Columbia.
Okay, so
he had come from the Czech Film School.
a credible,
He
trusted
made
guy.
it his life's work to study the greatest of the old Hollywood films and how those amazing screenwriters put movies together. So
I'm glad, and I think we can end on that note, but I'm really glad that you mentioned that because our ultimate goal is to try our best, at least to aspire to make some of the greatest movies of all time. Like, I don't want to settle for just some also ran or some derivative or something that you watch or you even binge watch and then you immediately forget about, So at least the goal is to make great fucking movies. You know what I
good.
mean?
Well, I
Like,
mean, I think it's
and
such a hard
yeah,
process that if you don't go into it with the
at least the intention of
yeah,
that, right? Like,
it's
you're
like
never gonna,
truly great.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not it's a hell of a difficult way to earn a living. It's like if I wanted to make money, I would have gone to Wall Street, but
Yeah, or gone into real estate or something
yeah.
else, not trying to make a movie. But listen, PJ Pesh, is that how you pronounce your last name? PJ Pesh, How to Kill the Beast. Look for it. And do you mind the idea of a bunch of people reading your script?
Not at all. I mean,
Like
I'm just more there's some good
the
lines in there. I
logistical,
don't want people stealing my good lines.
Well, the idea would be to get this made so quickly that your first
Nobody
on the
could
screen that,
rip off
that you
those
don't have
jokes.
time to rip it off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, Now, having said that, it is copywritten or WGA at least,
Yeah, of course, I
registered.
send it to the WGA
Okay.
for whatever good that does.
Okay. Yeah, we will have to talk about chain of title and how that all works, and during that process. But I know you got to get back to Batman. So,
Batman is in his
know-
crate. Can't leave him in there for too long.
well, thank you. Promise me you'll come back, though.
Of course.
Did we answer the question? Are you? Well, actually, let's leave that, and I'll edit this out. But are you directing? You're directing. The
I
movie.
mean, yeah,
If you would
I'm a
like to.
writer-director. It's what I've always
Writer-director?
been.
Okay.
I've directed 6 movies and I don't know, close to 100 hours of television and commercials, and that's like yeah, look, if Scorsese wanted to do it or Fincher, sure,
So
absolutely.
we'll have that conversation. So either path is possible. They
Yeah.
both have their nuances that I want to sit down and talk to you about.
Sure.
I'm all for trying to make that happen personally if we can do that. But it sounds like we're both open to figuring out whatever seems to be best for the script and for
Yeah.
you and
I wanna get the
whatever.
movie made.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you, man.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right. Take care.
All
We'll see
right.
you again.
Yes, sir.
All
We
right.
have
I'm gonna
a couple people interested.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Joe, and then Joe's going to be here with me in the room as we bring those people on from here on out. So, yeah, that's great. So if somebody's raised their hand, give me 30 seconds to bring in and introduce Joe, and then we'll have them come on camera as well. Does that work?
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Your audio is off. It seems they're having some issues on their end with the audio. He's going to leave and rejoin, and we're going to see if that works. They are still trying to get him back in. I'm sorry for the wait, guys. As soon as he's back, they're going to go through everyone that wants to talk.
Gabriel, are we back? Oops, I don't want to get on the phone.
I think we are back.
Gabriel, are we back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We are back.
Rock and roll. Let's go. All right. All right.
Thanks, fellers.
Yeah. I don't know if that looks like.
Chris, if you can hear me, the stream is really choppy, so just give it a second.
Shut down, so it's 75.
Chris, if you can hear me, there is a problem with the audio and the video. So just take a second and try to fix it.
It is cool. And is like you have your computer, Joe?
Not a good. I only have a work computer.
We need to look at somebody else's account. Can I use your computer?
Can
Farron?
you hear me?
What a great name, Farron.
Chris, if you can hear me, your audio is good. Your video is just still choppy. And I might have spoke too soon.
Let's see.
Hello, hello. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
you can hear me now? I can hear you. Can you see us
Yep.
okay? Or does it look
Audio
blurry?
and video looks good now.
Does it actually look clear?
Yep.
Does it need to get in focus? No, it's good. All right, let's freaking. I have a charger. I can use this one. All right. Well, that was a little what intermission? Is that what you call that? You were talking about the opera, Joe. Is that interact? I think we're good. Apologies to everyone for leaving you.
Shameful.
It is kind of shameful. No, come on, I'm not gonna lie. Jomo, the world needs to know Jomo. My best friend for forever. Also a famous everything filmmaker. Such a famous figure.
It's great to be here with you. It's always exciting.
Joe, can you just confirm, Gabriel, that everything is actually going okay? I'm now getting PTSD. And before I just launch into talking to Joe, and I know there's people who are going to come on and tell their story, but are we good?
Yes, everything is working
Okay,
well
great.
now.
Awesome.
Nice work.
Okay.
Vince.
All right. So, and you have the order of who's next to come on, and you're all set with
Yes,
that?
I do.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Gabriel. All right, cool. Without further ado, what do you want to tell people, Joe?
Just that we've known each other a long time. I've watched you develop this system, and it's been exciting to watch you invent, and everything has brought all of us closer to getting to fulfill these dreams with less permission. So that's
What do you think writers who and if you're in the text and you want to just text your questions, or if you have any, what do you think other writers who don't know me might be asking, either the most skeptical or the most optimistic? But
you know, Chris is a hyper educated person, and I guess I would call him. I come from the auction business. That's my day job. So I would call Chris a generalist. He has his tastes and he has the things he likes, but more importantly, he's always looking for the best versions of a piece. In other words, something that is the best version of itself. He's really good at not imposing himself on anything, but asking great questions that get to the heart of story and structure. And I know this because we've reviewed so many scripts together. We've looked at so many of them.
I loved it when we used to just read them. I think I was in Canada and you were, I don't know, I think you were in Hollywood or whatever, and we would just on the phone literally take
So much fun.
parts reading scripts back and forth to each other.
Yeah, it would
You know.
we would recognize our similarities in, what we were looking for in the heart of films, and we'd also recognize that we were terrible actors.
I don't know if I was as I was as willing to recognize it then,
Yeah.
but I definitely
Let's
can
just
say so
embrace it.
now.
Let's embrace
Um,
it.
So I've got Michael Lynn that's going to come on. We've done an AI evaluation on a bunch of scripts.
Mhm.
Now we want to get humans to champion them.
Right.
We have some people that are going to talk about their projects who
Mhm.
hopefully going to submit to us that we can then pass on to people to
Right.
read. Michael's going to come in and talk about like how he developed the, whatever you want to call it, algorithm or procedure or rubric or criteria or evaluation procedure about how the AI
Right.
judged it.
Mhm.
And then we're going to, you can tell us your thoughts on that. Anybody else can tell us your thoughts on that if they
Sure.
want to improve it. I think he's done a really amazing job, but now it's time for humans to read them.
Mhm.
And then that's going to be the next step in the process. And all this is just about trying to, put a spotlight on stories that we find that we think, deserve to be told and that could not otherwise be told in the current system. Hopefully they can have an opportunity,
Yeah.
with us,
No
but
better place than community to run things by people that are on the same quest and that are trying
having
to
said that, it's
make
not
good
going to be,
stuff.
yes. I mean, that's it. I want to make good stuff, but I don't
Mhm.
think it's going to be for everyone all the same either. Right. It's like not everybody's going
No.
to, necessarily
But
be a fit for what we're doing. And
My work's always gotten better from critique, and my work's gotten stronger from experience and from sharing other people's work. So this is a great environment. This is an old-fashioned communal environment of creativity. So it's a rarity to find yourself in this opportunity to talk to fellow artists and people that care about you getting to make your stuff, not people that want their stuff made instead, but people that like, yeah, this is going to be great. This is your story.
I always
So
get wrapped up in what you're saying, and that makes me forget what I was going to say.
that's all
I do
right.
the opposite of like waiting to speak. I'm like so enthralled by what you're
I
saying.
get wrapped up
you
in
know.
what I'm saying too. No,
But no, I remember you made me think that,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to, yes, there's going to be critique, but
Sure.
there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like your thing. Like, I don't care necessarily. And I want it to be people who, I want to be able to find the audience for the movie. And I think every movie probably has an audience. If it's a, all the scripts that we're looking at that we're high consider or recommend has an audience. We just want to find that audience. Even within that audience, then there might be differences of opinion, constructive feedback. But we're not looking to bring a whole bunch of people on that are haters that are just have a
No,
bad,
well,
like that are.
You're talking to a community of people who are like us. We're talking to our fellow people, and it's really good not to create in a vacuum. It's nice to have a place where you can go and have friendly forces, even if they're critical, looking at your work, giving your own opinion. Half the time you're going to have your thoughts substantiated. Some of the time you're going to have them challenged. But all of that's process, and it ought to be fun if it's contributing to the improvement or the polish of your work.
And when you talk about like it being us, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking about presenting these in a way that is not normally done, which is actually going to, audiences at
Mhm.
scale to read things. And there's a learning curve there for people that have never know how to read a screenplay. I think there's a lot of skepticism there, whether or not they're not going to necessarily be all artists. They're just going to be people who are hopefully going to want to watch the movie. But, so their opinion isn't the same as saying, I guess, we're fellow creatives. It's more or
Right.
less also just like this may be hopefully a continually more informed audience member, but at the
Well,
beginning it may be.
My dramaturgical mentor, whose name is Elise Dewsbury, brilliant. She always would teach, one of her classes would be specifically about accepting criticism. And she said there's three kinds. There's informed criticism that challenges you and makes you go, oh, why didn't I think of that? There's other observational criticism where you go, oh, I didn't get away with that. And then there's the kind of criticism that, well, what, you sleeping through the thing? You know what I mean? The point is hear it all and take what you need and throw the rest away, because
Yeah.
it's never going to say screenplay by Chris Amell with 50 good ideas from Joe Mo.
Yeah.
It's going to say it's yours. So
Yeah.
wherever the quality, wherever the enrichment, wherever the idea comes from, it becomes yours.
Yeah.
And you don't get those things from outside.
I was just
unless you're
talking-
listening to them.
No, I love that. And I was just talking to PJ and you know, just before this, and I think he was concerned, and I think there's some misinformation out there on Reddit that somehow this is going to be, you know, decision by committee, that all these voices are going to be deciding things. And it's not that. It's just, you know, like you said, take what you think is useful and discard what is not. But if there are some repeated themes and you know, maybe that's valuable to you, you
and
know.
there's people also who are at a point in their work that are not that open to criticism, and there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just that you have to sort of receive it in a way that doesn't hurt you, that doesn't make you feel inhibited, that doesn't, you know, and if for you that means that you're locked and you have a wall up, then that's the scripture presenting.
Yeah,
But
and you
I
can
think
take the
it's
chances and see if it
right.
stands on those merits, and
Right.
and
But
you know.
I always like to just create a value for the idea that you can find a room full of people besides yourself and your aunt who are going to, with great interest in your success, give you their constructive opinions. And everybody's going to have one, right? Uncle Jim's going to have one. He
Yeah.
may not know what he's talking about. Everybody means to help.
And I also think it's just fun for people to be able to voice their opinion and be part of that process,
For
even
sure.
if it's discarded. I think the act of being able, I mean, why are there so many film critics, so many people that like to talk and react to things, because they that's their role and that's how they participate.
And they
you
can
know?
be wrong, you know?
Yeah.
We see them, they can be wrong. Most of the time, when we hear a review, if it doesn't agree with what we thought of it, we're at least learning what triggered or turned somebody off or whatever. It's all interesting.
Well, let's bring somebody on, and I don't mind if we take over and do the hello and all whatever. Gabriel, who's up first? And we'd love you to introduce yourself. And as much as possible, I'm going to defer to Joe.
Oh boy.
I'm going to pull Aaron in here.
Oh, not Huckleberry. Aaron. Wait, sorry. It's like Aaron Huckleberry, isn't it? Is that last name? Am I getting his last name wrong slightly? Oh, look at that. We're down in the corner. We're on the side.
Oh,
no,
no.
That's not going to work. Can you
Yeah,
do-
Aaron,
can you do a
is
shot?
your mic working?
Not more technical difficulties. I'm over that. So what's happening, by the way, is all this footage at the end is going to be uploaded, and we're going to be able to edit it however we want so it looks good. So we're not relying on this broadcast
gaps
to
will be
be the
gone.
thing. All the what?
Gaps.
Oh,
will be
yeah,
gone.
yeah. And
Right.
so we don't have to worry too
Your
much about
terrible
that. But
opinions will be edited out.
yeah, I mean, there would be nothing left of the show. Why are you going to do that? All right. We got Aaron. I remember Aaron. Let's see him. Work your magic, Gabriel.
I'm trying here.
We need to get you a camera too. We'll have to get you a better setup so you can do that, so we can at least see you.
The all-powerful Oz floating in black.
Still working on Aaron.
Okay. I'm afraid when you cut the camera and it zooms in, it's just going to be showing the center console instead of either of us. But you know, yeah, like the lot. That's fine. There we go. That'd be better if that would be cooler. You can block me. Yeah, put that in front of it. And I'll try to sneak in frame. Please pay attention to me.
Attention.
Attention. Oh boy.
Have you had a good session so far? Did you meet some new people?
Look, there's a bunch of scripts out there that I actually
Mhm.
like. I actually think the thing is doing its job. Like the ones that have been truly recommended, which is obviously those ones I kind of looked at first, I was super excited
Mhm.
about. each of them.
Yep.
And then even the high recommends, if it legitimately, and Michael's going to show how he's going to improve it, but legitimately, if like it scores above a 75, I think it's more or less ready to be made. It's just about finding the right audience for it. Within those, a lot of those were ones that I was the audience for, like that I actually wanted to personally watch and champion. I'm curious to see the other ones, but yes, I freaking How to Kill the Beast that we just talked PJ was freaking it's gonna be dark, but like but it's
Nothing wrong with that.
but it was good. And Aaron's, I remember Aaron specifically. I asked him to come on if we can get him.
He's already rewritten the second act.
He's doing a quick polish, trying to get to that 80. But what do you think about that though? Do you like the idea that there's a place you can submit where it will be considered, and you have a fixed target. You might not agree with like how the system is rating it, but it's literally like, for me, that's the thing when I came that there wasn't. It's like, do this, and if you're this good, you will be able to be on camera or in this project or in or whatever. To me, just having a yellow brick road, a path, and then a goal. Maybe it becomes so goal oriented, but like that doesn't seem to exist in my experience with screenplays, where you can just submit somewhere, and if you get this mark, you're in a pipeline for being green lit, like, and that we're sitting around transparently talking about it. Like everything seems to happen behind closed
there's
doors.
no second guessing. You've got so many people that are, in positions of power that have to maintain their value by deciding, being the arbiters of taste and deciding what gets through, what doesn't. It's their job. But in the real world, we all know that many people who have incredible stories to tell don't necessarily get to do it because of the big permission structure. You got to.
I struggled with that for a very long time, which was at each step when I'm trying to build this system, there was one piece that always relied on someone else to decide or say yes.
Yeah.
And so like that's what's taken the most amount of time is I didn't have the background that my own son now has to be able to get to the level he has so quickly at 23.
Right.
For me, it was just each time I ran into a brick wall, figuring out how can I eliminate, that person's power over me to say yes or no. And then I think that we've arrived at a place where I guess we get to say yes or no, but I think that at least the rationale or the logic behind which we're using to say yes or no seems more meritocratic and less, I don't know, willy-nilly or haphazard or I don't know what you'd say, nepotistic everybody, or just different. But in any case, like
there's a lot more variety and freedom and opinion. There's people whose opinions would never even be considered in any of these conventional settings. Conventional settings.
Vegetable settings.
Hungry.
Sounds good.
Conventional settings. That this is an innovation, and it it will have its it really does give autonomy to the artist, and it will have its times when somebody says they don't know what they're talking about, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But there will be some times when some 16-year-old kid that's never read a script before says, "What about that? That doesn't make sense to me." And you'll go,
shit. Yeah.
And so you never know where the good idea is going to come from. It's just great to have an exchange of ideas. And in this setting, you're not threatened with something being taken away from you, somebody, stepping all over it, or just deciding by rote to change it, that you have to do something else. You don't have all of those boundaries to, making the best possible story that you can,
You got a drink, didn't you? I gave you your. You want
I'm
your
drinking
little?
it.
Oh, you got
It's
it.
hidden.
You're hiding it.
I'm hiding
You're only
my
sipping
brand.
it. You're hiding your brand. You don't
Yeah.
want to. Okay. Are we gonna do this, Gabriel, or what? I'm so sick of all this nonsense.
It's just not letting me get Aaron's audio in here.
Can we skip Aaron? I'm sorry, Aaron, dude. I'll personally apologize to you.
I would never skip you, Aaron.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron. You want to? Isn't Aaron? I don't remember. He's not in LA. I don't think.
Come on.
Come on down. You're the next contestant.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, come on. Yeah, really? You're teasing us, Gabriel. You're teasing us. Somebody else got their Dan Powers. Got it. I'm working on getting it above 80 then. Okay. And I think, you know,
Aaron's written a sequel.
he was working on the polish. Now he's
onto the sequel.
Damn it. Oh, Joe.
Here we are.
Oh
see.
yeah, we can try someone else quick if we want to see if
Okay.
it works with anyone else.
Okay. And then just, you know, yeah. With apologies.
I'm going to pull Nathan in. Nathan Burt.
Okay. Let me see. Hey, come on in. Can you tell them to come on in?
Can you hear us?
At 2:11. It was
Can you all
3:11.
hear me?
Oh, hey,
I
we
can
got
hear
you.
Yeah.
I think I missed. Did I miss? Yeah. I sorry for all this. You know, this was meant to just be a dress rehearsal, but it feels like we didn't even get dressed. You know, so introduce yourself. Tell us about your project, and please, you know, like, welcome.
So you all can hear me?
I can hear you great. Believe it or not.
You good? Okay. Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Nathan Burt.
Hi, Nathan.
I refer to myself as a recovering educator. I just spent the last 15 years in the education, working in a career in education, and realized it really wasn't doing for me what I had hoped it would do for me. And so,
What were you hoping it would do for you?
I was hoping that I was actually going to be surrounded by people who were super passionate about serving kids and
That didn't
making
happen.
sure that no, and it's scary and
Oh, wow.
it was strange, but it was a good experience. I refused to kind of accept it as something that was just kind of like a wash of the last 15 years. There's a lot of stuff that I learned from it, and
Well, I'm really passionate about finding great stories, and I hope you have one. Remind us of what your script
God-
is and what it's
God,
about.
I hope
to
so.
Jog my memory.
So my script is called Lost and Found. It is basic log line. It's two best friends, one straight, one gay, who have not seen each other in 7 years, are reunited at a funeral, and this leads to a day-long conversation where you start to realize that there's a lot of built-up hostility and tension between the two friends who haven't spoken to each other
Is
for a
this
long
the one
time.
that got the comp was like Before Sunrise?
Yep.
Was, you know, like yeah, exactly. I remember now the day-long conversation. So it's in that, for anybody who doesn't know, in that style. Do you want to tell us? You know, it's basically them. The movie itself is almost like a, I mean, it's not a one shot, but it is a continuous conversation in the same amount of time it takes for them to say the words. That's how long the movie is going on for. Is that it seems like in that kind of sense, right? Or ish?
Yeah, for the most part, it's mostly all real time for the most part, and it's this conversation that they started back before they were kind of separated by going to college and high school, and they pick up now again at the funeral of one of their parents, and we follow them throughout the day and we listen to their conversation, and it really is just essentially this two-hander between the two of them, where we start to realize that their stakes, their personal stakes, couldn't be higher for them as the
Why do you
conversation
think it worked for
moves
Before
on.
Sunrise, and how do you think that applies here? Was it Ethan? It was Ethan Hawke, right? And I forgot the actress, but I really love. Was it just, you know? I know also I remember weren't they in Paris? I guess, which I love Paris. I don't know if that one was in Paris, but I remember loving the scenery, and I guess the way that was written in the dialogue helped. But it was those particular actors, or what me resonating with what they were talking about. Is it all of those things? I guess. I mean, is this depend on finding the right two guys who are gonna, you know, capture an audience's attention, or do you think it's in the writing itself, or just people identifying with themselves, having had a conversation like this that's going to speak to them? Or what do you think is going to make this watchable, I guess, for people, given that it is unique in that sense, you know, in some way, not unique, but What do you think?
You know, I would like to take all the credit for it, right? I would like to say, oh, it's just the
Go ahead.
writing
Take all the
and
credit. It's that's what
but
we're here
it's
for today. It's about the script today. So if it's not on the
but
script, it's
it's
not on the
also
screen. So if it's not interesting, nobody can act it, you know? So
sure. I mean, I I think it's relatable. I mean, I wrote it, so I can only stand as objectively far away from it as I possibly can. But
yeah.
I think it's relatable. I think it's dealing with issues that everyone, regardless of their background, deals with. But I think it's also of a piece, right? And it you know with the right, it has to have the right actors, it has to have the right directors, it has to have the right marketing, et cetera, et cetera. It's the screenplay is the start, but it's not the finish,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
so when we think about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. It doesn't seem like that many people, from what I was saying to Gabriel, are jumping in to ask questions, and um, maybe that's because they don't know the right questions to ask. So if you allow me, I'm gonna ask you some tough questions, if you don't
Sure.
mind, and see if you're okay to answer them, which will illuminate people, I think, a bit about how what we're doing is gonna work. So, would you be willing to trade your screenplay, the value of your screenplay for a first dollar gross position, as opposed to selling it, um, you know, uh, outright for cash now? Would you make that trade if it meant the movie actually getting made and hopefully, as you will see, having a path to it being, seen by others and distributed? And, would you make that trade, or would you be asking for us to buy your screenplay? And just know that whatever you choose, both are possible. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts and what, based on that question, maybe comes to your mind, and what you might have to say in return.
Sure. I think the short answer to that question for me is I'm not exactly sure how that first scenario works. So I'm not exactly
Okay.
sure how that the first like is it like back end like
I'm gonna
money on the
Yeah,
back end
that's
that
great.
comes
But yeah,
through, or
yeah. So I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible, but um, uh, I want to highlight what I think is the underlying, first principle or logic or reasoning or rationale behind it, and
sure.
then jump in and tell me if you disagree with any of this. Um, I'm assuming that I mean, this is a spec screenplay that you finished before. That you don't. Hopefully, you're not depending on money coming in from that screenplay to feed your family or keep the lights on or pay your rent. It's something that's a complete finished screenplay. You, if it doesn't get made, hopefully that's not what you're depending on. For your livelihood. Am I wrong in that assumption?
Not at this point, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So that's kind of, I think, where most people fit with the screenplays that we're doing. So it's not as if, you know, uh, not paying them money, from my perspective, would be a hardship necessarily to someone, because they're depending on that. As it might be for a grip or a gaffer, or I don't know, somebody else who, you can't not pay them for their work because they probably need that paycheck at the end of the week to, support themselves, I guess. Okay, so that's the general premise from which I'm thinking about this to start. The second part is that I want to be aligned with the filmmaker in this. I'm not getting paid any money, and nor am I asking anybody to pay me any money. I would like to if we make your movie, I would like to make your movie find the audience. And when that movie starts making money, that's when I will see a return. And I'd like you to be a partner with me at the same time, doing that with me. So it feels like we're equals and we're partners and we're trying together to roll this ball up the hill. You know what I mean? Um, and if that
Sure.
happens, then I would like to share in that with you together. And just know that the simple answer is, if you're equity, that means you own a percentage of the movie alongside me. So whatever I am getting from this thing, you're also getting paid in the exact same way. I'm not like getting paid first in like what they call a waterfall, and then you later maybe get money or never see money because of monkey points or Hollywood creative accounting or things that have come in the past. The same deal that I'm getting, you're sharing alongside me. Now, in terms of our percentages, like how much I get versus how much you get, um, you know, that's a longer conversation. But in a nutshell, even though you're a are you a non-union writer or are you a union writer?
I am a non-union writer
Okay.
at this point.
So, but we still value your screenplay at the scale, which is about $150,000 of the spec screenplay, original screenplay plus story. Together, that's about $150,000. So the percentage that you would get would be in proportion to the amount it costs to make the movie. So what is $150,000 in proportion to the total budget spent on the film? And obviously, the larger the budget, the smaller that production interest becomes. And for me, that's a natural reason for everyone to focus on, you know, trying to bring costs down and budget down as much as possible. But in a nutshell, does that somewhat give you an idea of how that first part would work?
I think so. Yeah, I just got my screen just flashed and it says the recording is stopped. I don't know if that's.
I think they're cutting you
can
off.
you
We
also
didn't like
hear
your
me?
response, so we shut you down. There, there's our Nathan. Sorry, no, I don't know
No, that's
what's up
okay.
with that.
I just wanted to make
You
sure
know,
that you guys can still hear me and everything like that.
I can totally hear you, but I don't know why, Gabriel. Why is the recording stopped? I think is that,
It just automatically stopped. It's gonna start again. You're still live.
Do you want me to
Okay.
hit refresh? There's a refresh button.
You can refresh. We also do have some questions.
Hey,
so
come on
we
in.
can bring some other
Um,
people in.
No water in here?
Yeah, there's water.
Or like, am I allowed to bring
Yeah,
it?
come on in. Yeah, no, come on in. Bring whatever you want.
Perfect.
Is it Justin?
Nice to meet you, Grace.
Justin?
I'm
Ch-
Ren. No,
What is it?
Ren.
Ren.
Arjen, yeah.
Ariane. Ren. Chris. This is my really good friend Joe Mo.
If you want
This
to
is Hannah.
refresh your stream, I can let you
Let's
back
grab a
in.
couple. Let's grab a couple more chairs. I'll give you the nice chairs.
Oh,
Ah, the lot. How are you, Jamal?
I'm good. I'm good. This is all
oh, I can help you.
fantastic.
Lovely.
Congratulations.
See if we can all fit in the frame.
Thank you.
Where do you want me to put that?
I'm gonna sit right here and down here. I'm gonna
On the floor?
do this, and we got to point towards the camera so the cameras can see us. So we have to be here, and you can be. Hi. So we're gonna bring in someone who I'm pitching as, you know, a potential EP, or at least has that kind of experience, and you know, whether she does it or not, we don't know. We were talking about some of the scripts that we've already received and handing back and forth, and obviously we need to have
Chris,
people
can you
involved.
fix the focus on the camera?
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
You want to? What happens if you touch that dial? You know how to focus a camera lens?
Oh.
No. Let's try it. Try it. Turn it. Come on, you got it.
Where can I sit here?
No. Let's see. That's not clear. Other way. Other way.
Other way, other way.
Other way. And stop. Is that
Right
good?
there. That's good.
Good job. Well done.
Okay.
Well done, Ren.
Perfect.
All right, Nathan, I'm going to ask you to, I think since you're not recording, I'm going to ask you to exit stage left, and we will definitely talk more about your project. I can't wait to read it. And, you know, I'm hoping, you know, I'll contact you by Monday and we'll let you know like what you have to do to go to the next step to have it read by other people. But, you know, I'd love to pass your script around to people if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. Have a good
All
one.
right, thanks, man. Bye.
All right. Have a seat. Have a seat. I think.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah. You're gonna be off camera, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. No, you're good. No, you're there. You're good. You're there.
That's awesome.
Okay. Go to the one. Get rid of this. Get rid of this other camera, Gabriel, please. So we're just recording. This is live, and there's a bunch of people in the waiting room which you can't see, and we're going to bring some other people on to talk. But we're going to edit this after the fact and just get content to explain to writers and other people like how we work. So we're making movies. We have a film fund. We have we've reviewed over 10,000 screenplays. We filtered that down to 296 that we are serious about. Talk to the camera. That we're serious about moving forward with. Right now, I'm signing deals with writers to get the rights to be able to move those projects forward, to attach directors and cast, and hopefully investment from our fund, of which I'm the GP, and to get them into theaters and make them. Next Friday, we have an event in Coudersport, PA, at a local movie theater, in which we're going to spotlight the local communities direct audience engagement in helping us decide which those projects are going to be. And I have two people in the room with me right now. This is Hannah and this is Ren. I'm going to ask them to introduce ourselves. You'll see the beautiful Hannah. You'll get to hear the beautiful Ren. Hannah, take it away. Who are you? What's your interest in film? Why am I such why am I such an idiot? And start with those three things, I guess.
Perfect. Very loaded. Who am I? I'm figuring that out every day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great answer because I have no idea myself. So that's perfect.
But I'm Hannah. A little bit about me is I grew up with a dad who built rockets and a mom who was a VC in biotech, and I told them I wanted to be an actor.
They're like, no.
Yeah, that was an interesting journey. I ended
Act
up
like a rocket scientist.
yeah, I know. I did buy some SpaceX share.
Yay!
But yeah, so I went to school for acting. While I was there, I got bored and started a AI tech company. We ended up having a partnership and funding from Sam Altman and OpenAI.
Okay, but rewind. So the apple didn't fall that far from the tree. So you
No.
just gave up acting, or they convinced you to give it up, or what?
So while I was acting still, I was getting a BFA in acting and
Okay.
started my
Okay.
startup doing
Okay,
that.
but why even go down that path? If you were like, Mom and Dad, I want to be you weren't all in yourself? Like what? Like you just knew eventually you're like, I need to have a backup plan, or what? What's the?
No, I wanted to build something bigger than just. I love.
Are you gonna say
acting.
then just a movie? What's wrong with a movie?
Nothing's wrong with a movie. I wanted to make multiple movies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What, do you want to still act?
I love acting. I
Okay.
haven't done it since I was out of school.
How long ago? What, you gonna tell us how long ago that was? Has it been a minute or what?
It's been a year now.
That's not long.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So are you gonna try to audition, or are you gonna try to? Are you gonna build a rocket? What are you gonna do?
Well, we're building a rocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds like maybe it's the priority. I don't know, but
Priority right now.
okay.
Yeah. Well, with Ren, we're building a couple rockets. So.
Okay. Just two? He said two. I think he held two fingers. I saw. So they're building a couple rockets. All right, Ren. What is your background? What is your relationship to Hannah? And what is your interest here today?
Okay, nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, Ren.
My name is Ren, and I was from Japan and China, and I'm from a family who does a lot of action movies in China. Like
From a family who does action movies?
yes.
What does that mean? Does action movies? What do they do?
Like we produced a few action movies in China.
Okay.
Like Ip Man with Donnie Yen, and also we were.
Man.
Do you know that? I don't.
Yes, it's huge everywhere but here.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, like, when I was super
Huge.
young, I know Donnie Yen, and he's like super. He's like superstar, like action movie star.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
And then we were engaged in some of the productions here, also action movies like Expendables
Okay.
and other action movies from the company called Millennium Media. And myself, I do a post-production company, a production and post-production company with
Okay.
Hannah right now. And
Okay.
we do a Japanese anime production,
Okay.
and also in the
Was
US.
she was telling me, is this you're using generative AI to do it, or no, or is it animation or visual effects? Like, how are you accomplishing the anime through what artistry are you making the animations?
Well, actually, I would say the animation itself is one kind of visual effects, and
Yeah.
we are doing with a hybrid pipeline right now.
Okay.
Like we use some sort of AI for sure,
Okay.
because it's very cost efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also we are.
But you need to do a lot by hand still because it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
all
yeah.
come out right, and it gets screwed up, and somebody's got to take those frames and figure out how to stitch them together or fix them in yes, it's not a seamless AI process. It's a hybrid approach, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
And like meanwhile, we still have a few drawers in house, like the painting writers in house to do the hand drawing.
Got
as
it.
well.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going through three different generations of craft, I guess, from just hand painting to video AI generation to some other digital tools,
Yeah, a few of them.
together. A few
Yeah.
of them. Okay.
In total, a few of them.
Talk to me about the other action movies that you're doing. What other action movies are you doing in the U.S. Are you been involved with? What exactly did you do?
Oh well, we just did a movie last year. I think the year before last year, and it was released last year. It's called Blow for Blow. It's like an action movie, and I did it with a mutual friend of me and Hannah,
Okay.
Keegan, and he's also a Brazilian jiu-jitsu legend. And
So is he the action star in the film? Is that the idea, or what was?
Well, he was the action director
Okay.
and
Okay.
the director, and
Okay.
we had a lot of fighting scenes with as a combination of different kinds of martial arts, like the judo and jiu-jitsu, and also a little bit Chinese kung fu, and,
Okay.
and some katana stuff.
Okay.
And some
What was the
gunfighting.
storyline?
So hybrid kick-ass.
Hybrid kick-ass.
Hybrid kick-ass.
Gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha.
And the storyline is very simple. It's like two kids, and they have some conflicts from each other, and and they found out that they're all and they're both from like two mafia families, and then there's a bigger conflict between the two companies. Between the two companies and the two families. Yeah.
Okay. And so what was when you said you did it and he was the director, what was your role? What did you do?
I was one of the actors.
You were an actor.
And
Do you
also-
know one of those skills? You're going to kick my ass in what? Which discipline?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But for some stage fighting, yeah, I know. I know
Okay.
a little bit. But
Okay.
also, I've been training the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I look like I know Chinese kung fu. Actually,
You
I
look
know.
like you
Yeah,
you look like you should know.
Yeah, I look like I should know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was a really fun experience as well.
Yeah,
But it
And-
sounds
and I
like
do the post production too.
well, but what I'm hearing the theme is you both followed in your parents' footsteps. Is that kind of the idea? Like you did you're doing action, your parents did action movies. You ended up in space, in space regardless of the fact that you didn't want to initially. But
No, I want to. I love it a lot.
you love what?
I love it a lot.
What do you love?
I love action movies.
Yeah, no, and that's what your parents did, right? Didn't you say they had a company that were doing the same thing, right?
Well, not really, because when I was young, I was growing up in a culture like in China and Japan, and then during my childhood, I mean, the Hong Kong movies and all the action movies are pretty trending. So I've seen a lot of movies like Quentin, and that's why he has done the Kill Bill. So I was growing up in the.
You're saying that, so
in a
just for everyone
culture
else, you're
that-
saying that basically Quentin Tarantino was inspired to do Kill Bill because of the same movies you grew up watching and that were being made in your country.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That totally makes sense. Yeah, I've heard that, from him, like not directly, but yeah, I've heard him say that. Yeah.
Here he is. Come on
Here he
in.
is. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next? What do you want to do now?
So right now, yeah, because we are more able to use the AI in our production, so we can do the stories more easier.
Okay.
So we're launching something called Legacy Labs, and we are trying to tell the stories of anybody. Like as long as you're like someone like you, a successful entrepreneur, you want to tell a story about yourself. Like in the past, you have to pay. You have to have a
Costs a
millions of
lot
budget.
more. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, to do a Hollywood blockbuster. But right now, you can hire us to do a biography in a cinematic way.
Do you have any finished content that we can use as an example to show people of what's possible that can be created so that they can see, hey, what the output of that is actually something that they would want to watch versus the traditional way of making it? Like, do you have some example of the kind of quality that you're able to achieve with these new systems?
Yes, we have some trailers.
Just some trailers?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing.
Would you be willing to share them with me so I can put them on our TV channel and show other people?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Okay.
We'd love to. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And let's find a project we can work on together after this too.
Okay.
All right. Hannah.
Yes.
All right. How are you going to help us make movies? Are you going to act in all of them? Are you going to executive produce them? Are we going to do Slay House if we get
Chris,
this guy to help
we are
us out
doing
or the
Slay
carrier?
House.
You like it?
I
like
read
it?
it. When you told me, I was like, okay, like this could either be really good or really bad.
Okay.
Um,
That's a risk. Yeah.
and which is my favorite kind of risk. And I read it. I was like, this is so stupid. It's good.
Okay.
I was like,
It's
but-
supposed to be a
and
comedy, dark horror comedy. Yeah.
Also, I mean, you did tell me that the writer.
We have an issue there, but we'll have to come back to that. If there's a conviction in making it, I'm sure we can make it happen.
Okay.
But yeah.
It was funny because you did tell me that it seemed like he wanted.
Oh.
He really wanted to kill the.
I did get
influencers
the
and
impression, and
like-
I'm throwing you under a bus here if you're watching, but I did get the impression that the writer didn't. Okay, so to set up Slay House, It's a story about influencers stuck in a content house in the Hollywood Hills or the Beverly Hills that get killed off one by one in traditional, horror genre slasher style.
I read that one.
Yeah, and so if that's been done before, but I think that what I liked about it was, what I was gonna say was I think that the writer liked killing off influencers because I don't think that he actually liked them as people, and kind of felt like he was just very enjoying being able to put that down on paper and kill them off in interesting and fun ways.
Yeah.
You got that sense?
Definitely got that sense.
Okay.
But it's great because like I also too like it's like how I feel about like Yorkshire Terriers. It's like when I see them I have this like impulse. I just want to see it like hit by a car or something. Like so I actually love animals. I rescued both of my
I just want to squeeze those Yorkshire Terriers. So when they're yapping, when I walk around my dog and they're like yap, 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 sometimes I have evil thoughts too. It's okay.
So I don't feel that way about my animals.
Of course.
Just working.
Okay.
But I do feel that way. Like I would enjoy myself watching. Oh my god, this is probably gonna get flagged, but I would enjoy myself watching a movie where like influencers were like
getting killed off one by one. Yeah. It's interesting. Did you also read The Carrier or not yet? Save that for next time.
No, you didn't send it to me.
Oh,
How was
sorry.
I supposed to read that?
Sorry. Okay. But did you find a character in the Slay House that you want to be, or that you or what? What are you gonna do?
Not to brag, but I have already
picked a character out.
Had a stint as an influencer in
Okay.
the Hollywood Hills.
Okay.
That was annoying, and I
Okay.
I do feel I can pull it off.
Okay.
However, I want what's best for the overall project.
All right. We'll have to talk to your buddy who introduced us, Matt Lorber, also has some experience with that. I think he's got a character picked out. So if we make that one, stay tuned. I would love you to read The Carrier next. That's one that Todd Ressler, the writer, is going to come in. Mark Burley, the director of Weeds Glow, Orange is the New Black, and all of that is definitely one that we're going to put forward. That we're hoping to make regardless of what happens with this other set of films. So I want you to read that and pay attention. I'm going to say goodbye for you now. It was really great to meet you and continue on with some other writers. But thank you very much for coming in, Hannah. Appreciate your time. See you. Yes, nice to meet you too. All right, you're good. You're good. Have a good one. Ugh. Thank you. You too.
I think I know somebody involved in it, man. Jackson Pat. You know Jackson Pat by chance?
Which Jackson?
I think he's involved in production of somehow because I think he had a whole warehouse of weapons and things.
Oh,
which is really interesting. So.
Jackson Pat. All right, so maybe a mutual connection. All right, awesome. Take care. Appreciate it. We'll connect again. Thank you. Gabriel, who's next?
People I can pull in here.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Vaughn. I'm gonna pull in Vaughn.
Let's go, Vaughn. Oh, is Michael Lynn in the waiting room? Because I'm gonna try to get him on. He's gonna explain. He says he's ready 17 minutes ago.
I do not see a Michael Lynn.
Click on the guest link. Let's bring on Vaughn. But Michael Lynn is the man that we can love or hate, but that is responsible for the AI evaluations that people got and the scores that they received. So if you were recommended, he's the one that you should thank. And if you didn't, then you should, he's the one that you should hate, I guess, or the AI. But
that's clear. There's no gray area either, huh?
There's no gray area. Love him or hate him. No, we're not trying to be polarizing. It just comes naturally.
Vaughn, can you try to speak or send a message in the chat?
And if you see Michael, if you can't get Vaughn, just let's quickly move on to the next one the mic's actually working. I don't know why. Aaron also messaged me, said he tried everything he could, couldn't get his audio to work. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah.
I'm going to pull in Steve here.
Oh, I know Steve.
Are you sure?
This is my old man. Pediasure or something, or what it's called. I don't know, old man. Those used to be in 40s refrigerator. Remember that? Joe Mo used to be the caretaker for Forrest J. Ackerman, coined the word sci-fi,
Yep.
started cosplay.
Mhm.
You know, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg credit their careers to the magazine that he started, Famous Monsters of Filmland, who took toys out of the dumpster that studios were throwing away and gave a voice to people like Rick Baker and behind the
Ray
scenes.
Bradbury, Ray Harryhausen.
And
started a lot of people's careers.
and then you wandered into the Acker Mansion, you know, and then never left,
Became
right?
best friends until the day he went on to the big convention in the sky.
Big convention in the sky. And then he used to eat always at House of Pies, and you are responsible, I credit you, right, with making the square at the House of Pies
Yeah, we got
corner.
Forrest Ackerman Square to the corners of Vermont and Franklin.
Yeah.
For 40. It was an effort beyond me, but
So in Hollywood,
I'm happy to have been. been
part of that.
involved.
Well, okay. So was that enough air? Was that enough filler to get somebody on? Apparently not.
I'm trying to pull Vaughn in here. I got his camera on.
And then I would like Michael to, if as soon as you see him, he's going to give, Michael is going to, I really would like for people, is there a chat? They are chatting with you, right? I can't see it, but there's a chat that's existing that, that I would like people to understand how much we're thinking about and how much we care about trying to do a good job of finding things, not letting things that are potential gems be lost, to try to also have you understand that to allow open submissions at scale like that and to sift through 10,000 screenplays, why it's so important that we're able to leverage this technology to be able to sort the wheat from the chaff. And there's Michael. And we have thought a lot about it. So the scores we've received are from this guy right here. I've already told them that they can stone you or praise you depending on their scores, the writers, Michael, that you're the evil genius responsible for judging them. And honestly, I was talking about how thoughtful and careful we have been to try to do a good job of figuring out how we should approach this problem of sorting, projects at scale without missing gems. And I think a lot of people have some, questions about how well AI can do at that. And to lead you into, what you've been working on, I think the first part of that was to try to find the weaknesses of the AI and intentionally work around them and also to leverage its strengths. So Michael Lynn, if you could please introduce yourself. I know you've got a little bit you want to say. He's going to talk to us about, how we evaluate your screenplay. And then Joe, as a writer, would you please be the writer's representative and the voice for everyone who can't be here to interact with Michael and ask questions and probe?
Sure, I'm just excited to hear stories.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody has such passion.
Sure. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. We got you, Michael.
Yeah, I have a few slides just to be able to talk more.
Share your
in a more
screen if you're able
organized
to.
way.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Can you see my screen?
I can't yet, but I think maybe you have to add that, Gabriel, to the screen. Add that. Oh, there we go. Hold on, we're gonna wait for him to add it. He's gonna figure out how to add add your slide to the screen.
I think
we can, but then we've got S and J. Or S and J people that we can eliminate, or is that just a layout that you have that has 1 + 4, and you need to keep those in? Baraka, A Story Century. I'm not gonna.
I can just start.
I know what that is.
I mean, should we just start, or should?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. J and S.
So I mean, I'm my name is Michael. I guess Chris has already talked a little bit about that,
No.
but-
I want you to introduce yourself, please. I know you're not a self-promoter, but please give us a little bit about your background so people understand the kind of person who is judging them and evaluating them. And I don't mean to
I'm
be so
not
harsh
judging
about
them.
that. Yeah, exactly. See, I knew you'd say something like that, but I'm trying to set you up here.
Yeah. So I'm also a sort of budding screenwriter. I'm trying to become a screenwriter as well. So through college, I studied film and screenwriting, and I also did computer science. So I was trying to figure out when I first met Chris, and we were talking about this idea of, this problem of having thousands of scripts come to us and not having time to read all of them and trying to figure out the best way to be able to get through all of them in a efficient way and leveraging technology to be able to do that. I thought, this is a great opportunity to use kind of background in both those sides, like my understanding of you know story and screenwriting, as well as understanding of computer science. So I was I've been working with Chris for the last few years about kind of honing this tool and trying to make it better. I mean, it's always a work in progress, but um, I think the idea is to really be able to utilize to create and build a tool that will help us kind of surface the most original, exciting, well-written stories.
Okay, now how are we going to do
and
that? I'm setting up. This is version 2.0. We can leave
Right.
version 1.0 behind for now. People have seen their
Yeah,
scores and they've
great.
seen how that's been reviewed. Talk to us
Mhm.
about how we intend to do that now. And please, Joe, interrupt at any point and ask questions and mix it up a little
Yeah,
bit. And
I mean,
we need your energy and voice.
I named it
Yeah.
Baraka, the second version of it, just because it's a documentary that I really love that came out 30 something years ago, that kind of explores the delicate balance between like nature and technology. And I think that's sort of the mindset I want to come in with, because I know as writers and as creatives, we're also very hesitant to like see something like AI kind of come into our creative spaces. But I think there's a really cool way to be able to use it as a tool to help us, work on what we'd like to. Um, Basically, the purpose of this model is to manage a huge amount of screenplays that come in and kind of act as a funnel. I do want to reiterate that it doesn't replace human readers. It's really all these decision making factors are still going to come down to us and how we actually view these scripts and as we dive in to read them. It just helps to identify the scripts that are extra special and might want our attention first. So as you can see, these are the three like goals for the tool that I've set out, and it's meant more as a first pass or a gateway than it is like a
Can we get that purpose slide
judge.
on, Gabriel? Can we get that purpose slide on the forefront so we can read what that is and have that shot? Are you able to say
Oh.
what those three are? What, if not, what is the purpose, Michael? What is our purpose? We have three things. What is the purpose of this?
So the purpose of it, one, is to reliably identify what is like professionally written stories craft. The second thing is to reliably identify major weaknesses from any scripts that come through. And the third major goal is to surface, unusual or potentially special work without crushing it, because I think oftentimes when we work with AI models, it's kind of like they prefer to have things similar to what has been out before, and we definitely don't want to be beholden to their opinion about what is original or unique.
Okay, so finding
So
original stuff and making great stories,
right.
finding things that are potentially good and understanding how well the craft is, the kind of
Mhm.
level of craft of the piece of art that's being looked at, and then also pointing out weaknesses while not missing anything that could be super special. Understanding that, do you find that to be true, that AI does pattern match, and if it's not in its pattern matching, that somehow it's going to find it, be less likely to surface it? Is that,
I'll
is it?
talk more about that
Okay,
coming
all
up,
right. I
but I
won't steal
would
your thunder. All
like,
right.
I mean, if the slides could be
Can you
seen
bring them on
more, I don't
screen,
know.
Gabriel? Can we
If
make
it's
the
not, it's
screens?
okay. I can just read.
Come on, Gabriel, do your thing. Make
More
the
not
purpose
okay.
slide
It's
the
totally
screen.
okay.
We don't want to see Michael's bedroom. I can already see the dirty laundry on the
That's
back
not
of.
dirty. It's
Oh,
clean.
it's not dirty. It's clean laundry. I can see the clean laundry. He's
Half
trying to
has to
move
be
his shoulder over
folded.
to hide it. No, I see. You can't do it.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Oh, there we go. How does it
This
work?
might be a little bit harder to read then, given that it's so small. But
Gabriel, pop in and tell us what's going on. Can we not get that?
It's okay.
Are you dead, Gabriel? Did we lose you? Maybe he's texting me.
Hey, I apologize. Yeah, there's just not a layout that allows me to make it full screen.
Can you switch just to that being full screen and nobody else on camera, but still have our, or will it take our voices off too? You won't be able to hear us at all. Yeah,
I only have a few options.
At least for a second, just put the how does it work on screen, so then I can at least we'll have a screen grab.
Do you see that?
I see Michael as the main camera. If you can just do a one shot of just the slide, if that's possible, at least for 5 seconds. There we go. Hey, you did it. You did it. And then I'll.
As long as you can still hear me, I think this should be
I
fine,
can.
right? Okay. So basically, to dive into how this second version kind of works, we've divided how we're looking at scripts into two main categories: craft and what we call championability, which is a made-up word, but I think it applies to us. Around the basics of storytelling, things like plot, pace.
I lost you, Michael. What is championability? We lost you at championability.
I was the second championability is sort of that it factor and the originality factor of the script. Is it distinct and memorable? Does the writer have a strong sense of voice? More importantly, it answers the question: does the script provide some sort of reason for a reader to advocate for it for further review? So it's pretty much something that is. It's pretty much a question of whether or not this script is original and it really speaks to someone. Obviously, that's something that is a little bit harder to judge from a subjective. But I'll speak on in later slides sort of how we adjust for that. But basically, the model will go through all of these factors and generate a recommendation of recommend, consider, or pass. Basically, what the model did before is very similar, and like how even good script coverage, it does the same thing where a lot of these things we just have blown out these specific factors for consideration. But there is like a difference between us as like human readers and how an AI model, reads these scripts. And that's something that we'll need to take into account. We'll need to balance the strengths and the weaknesses of the model to be able to ensure that, the evaluation is fair and accurate. For example, like AI models tend to be better at identifying character arcs and whether each scene has a beginning, middle, and end. Stuff like that, but they're also not as good as recognizing poorly written dialogue or how the reader's supposed to feel at a certain point. So we've done a lot of research into like what these different models are good and bad at, and obviously that will change over time. But sort of the second 2.0 version is a way to account for all of that, and hopefully like calm some people's nerves about like how their scripts are actually being read, because it's not purely just from this like weird black box of I don't
honestly, I haven't faced much pushback in terms of the writers, and I'm not sure that anybody actually cares like who's a writer. I think they care that they get their script to a point where somebody's going to look at it and maybe give them money or help them get it made. I'm not sure if they care how it's being evaluated as much as I guess I thought initially they would. Do you care, Joe, whether or not how it's being evaluated, or just that they get, or just that you get recommended?
I think there's different levels of help, and I think one of them is dramaturgical. That's not necessarily creative. That's when the system can tell you structurally where you fall down, where the balance is off, where a character is neglected, things like that. It's different, and I always try to prompt any AI that I use to be brutally honest, and also to try to, it's up to a certain level, try not to create, try to analyze. And I think that a lot of writers think that when you submit material to AI, that you're basically handing over the keys to the car. You're not really doing that. You're having them kick the wheels a little bit, and you're having it, kind of assess the conventions of screenwriting. And sure, it can learn you a little bit, but I think that in my case, dramaturgically, it saves me $250 a session to talk to my mentor.
And you feel
Because
good about it getting the results that it's giving you.
Absolutely, because it's when a system takes into account the tradition and the conventions of structure and the traditions and conventions of storytelling, not judging whether or not your original story is worthy or not, but judging whether or not it hits the marks as far as carrying us along on the trajectory of interest in the story. There's some really great information to be gleaned from that. So I hope that's not a convoluted answer, but I'm just saying that there are many stages, including submitting completely to a system that's being cultivated to find quality in general, and universal um, quality and
Well,
success.
Well, Michael, how would you just in the good, bad, and the ugly to sum that up? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I totally agree with what you're saying, that it feels like there's like an art and a science to storytelling.
Yeah.
And we're really trying to use this model as a way to evaluate the science part of it, the part that can be evaluated more objectively based on things that are tried and true and that do work, while not trying to squash the things that are that may be about it. And moving forward, things that we have been able to find is that these AI models are better at recognizing good craft. So the things I mentioned before about
So I'm going to take over for you a little bit when I see the slide, Michael, because I'm losing your audio. It might come through clean after the fact when it's uploaded, but right now in the moment, you're breaking up kind of a lot. So Gabriel, are you also getting that from Michael, and can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay, just losing Michael a little bit.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna try to recap on these slides. If you can go through the slides, unless I don't know if it's your service, Michael, we're losing you.
Hello.
Hi. So I think to recap on what he was saying, basically the art and the science, I guess the more of the science part would be that part that it's better at identifying, which is that craft from 0 to 100, which is why we're able to give it, a specific numeric score between that range and be a little bit more precise with that, because it is better at understanding what level of craft the story is coming in with. And then the less granular at identifying is that championability, that art factor. So rather than place it in a 0 to 100 scoring factor, we just think that it's good enough to let us know whether it's high, medium, or low. So that we have just those three components to the sort of the art. And I think it's competent enough to do that, to put it in those three basic buckets. And then he combines those two in a sophisticated way to overall tell us, there we go. And that's the rubric. If you want to put the rubric on screen and try to take over, Michael, we were just losing.
Yeah, can you still not hear me?
I can hear you now. Great. You sound like you're back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think now it's R2D2 again. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Full disclosure, I've worked a little bit with both Michael and you on some of this, submitting to some of it, and I found it really valuable, and I didn't find it overreaching in ways. And I'm fussy.
Yeah.
I try to be unconventional.
You were super impressed, and we're like, holy shit, I want to work with that. You know what I mean?
I was very impressed, because
Casey's
I know
good.
my boundaries. I know that I don't want it inventing. I just wanted assessing how it feels about my inventions.
Yeah.
And if
Makes sense. All right, give it a shot. Otherwise, it's on screen, and I'll speak to the rubric, Michael.
He's gonna reset and try again.
Okay. Do you want to bring somebody on in the meantime? We'll break that up a little bit, unless he's come. Who are GNS? Are they people that are there waiting to speak? Can we get to introduce their stories? I'd love to hear more of the stories that we're hoping to be able to Read.
Steve, this is Steve, if he can hear.
Come on, Steve. Be the man. Or not.
Have you watched every new movie that's out?
I didn't see Backrooms. I saw
Mhm.
Obsession. I walked out. I told you this, didn't I? I saw Disclosure Day, but I had to leave to go to a restaurant, and I literally on the actual Disclosure Day in the movie, I had to walk out of the theater. I'm totally going back to finish it. I really loved it.
That's great to hear.
You know, I really
It's a
loved
mixed
it.
bag. People,
I really loved it.
yeah.
What's the other
people
part
that I
of the mixed
respect a
bag?
lot really loved it.
Some other people didn't.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I'm gonna go see it.
Oh, you haven't seen it yourself
No,
yet.
no.
Can I go? Can we go together?
Yeah, let's go
Okay.
right now. Put that down.
Screw this shit. Let's watch an actual movie. I would do that.
There's a
We
love
can't
of
give people-
movies,
Aw,
right?
yes, I do.
It motivates everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve, I can't hear your audio if you're talking.
I promise to never do this again like this. You know, take me at my word. You know, we'll see. But Steve, this
It's trying.
Superman.
It's trying.
It's trying. Hey, I can see the chat. Let me see. Barry. Elvon, Heidi. Heidi, I want to see you too. Gabriel, Julio, Steve, Samet, Drew, Michael.
Steve, it's still not working on our end.
Studio chat. Hi, I'm female. Okay. Joe is right. I like the way AI breaks the script down. However, the human element can read the emotion of it. You guys are buffering a bit on my end. Sorry. Michael trying to reset, breaking. I can't go. Okay. There's a movie like that on Hulu or Tubi, I believe. I can't unmute myself. Okay. Yes, we got John Picaretto. He's got a quick question. Throw him on. Or Michael's back.
Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, Michael. Hey, he's clear.
Am I?
Yes. Beautiful smile. Go ahead. I see you looking around. Try speaking. He's looking for the right slide. There it is. We got you.
Okay. You can still hear me?
Yes.
Or no?
Yes.
Anyways, I mean, this is sort of the last slide I really wanted to talk about. Basically, using those two scores, one for craft, and then the other that's the less granular one, which is championability. This is sort of the matrix that will help the model identify the script as recommend, consider, or pass. So as you can see here, like if you look at this first top row, scripts with solid craft and medium to high championability would be considered a recommend. And the lowest script, you know, like the lowest possible, the lowest a script could get in terms of championability, if it has solid craft, we're still going to consider it. And I think that speaks to what we were kind of mentioning, that like either a script has to be this idea that if it's really, really well written, and for some reason that originality factor isn't registering with the AI model, we'll still consider it because it is so well written. If you look at sort of the high champion, that first column, the worst that a script could do, even if it doesn't have very strong craft, is also considered, because the model has identified something special about that script that it thinks that thinks someone's going to find it super original, or want to be able to champion it. So that's kind of a fair way at to address both, um, the model being, good at understanding craft, and maybe have to be more descriptive or less granular about, how original it is. And I think there's that trade-off, kind of make sure we include that really original scripts, um, should still be given a chance, and really well-written scripts should also be given a chance, even if the model doesn't think it's original, or
So it
as
sounds like
original.
in those two cases, our work would be either taking a really well-written screenplay and trying to make it more fresh or original, or finding really fresh and original ideas that maybe we need to bump up the craft to figure out how to properly tell that, to make that story well told, I guess, right? Does that sort of sum it up if they fit into that bucket? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And now these numbers for craft 75, 50, like, we're still doing that, and as the model is more, we'll have better this, um, and it's work in progress as well. But we kind of like how this matrix is set up, because it's kind of provides a framework for what you were saying, Chris.
Yeah.
And
Michael,
pretty
I have a
much,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Mike.
I was just wondering, aside from feeding the script to AI with your parameters, is there any other provenance or any other information from a writer that you use to add to the mix? Like, if I were to say what my stylistic influences were, or give an example of a film that kind of fits the mold for the script that I'm trying to deliver,
Would that be helpful or
is that
not? Like,
stuff that you consider, or that you can use in the assessment, or is it mostly just, a look at the script as is?
how are you thinking that would be useful in your mind?
Well, I'm thinking if a writer has something that's fairly, that may be off the beaten path, but that they have a,
A reference
a
for?
reference or a context for it, if that would help, the system to put it in context.
So the question, I guess, Michael, is adding more context to the model from the writer helpful or not in those situations? Obviously, the end result is to judge the finished work, but in the cases where you're saying it's not as good as picking up that pattern, is more input into the model and context likely to, in those cases, improve its understanding, I guess, or evaluation of it?
I mean, we can definitely include that as a section for, like, extra information that the writer wants to include. Obviously, we're gonna have to be careful about limiting that. We don't want them to include like a million pieces that will
Yeah, I mean,
ultimately make
I
everything
I
slower.
think no is a perfectly valid answer. I'm just wondering if, in some instances, like, for example, when I've used AI myself, I'll write a letter, and it'll give me a very, very terse and specific response. And then when I say, oh, but it's meant to do this, it'll go, oh, well, that changes my perspective. So I was just
I think
wondering. Mhm.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all. And we're judging everything by the highest common denominator we can to get
Totally.
to the structural, integrity of the thing. That's a perfectly fine answer. I'm just curious.
Well, actually, it's great that you mentioned it, because I can dive into specifically those 4 sections of championability
Mhm.
and how the model kind of looks at it. For distinctiveness, it'll be looking at what, works out there. It thinks it has shared similar themes or characters or setting too. And same thing with the writer's voice. It'll try to describe the tone that the writer is trying to write in. And
Mhm.
all of these things will be documented for each script. And I think the
Mhm.
cool thing about having an AI model parse through it and have all of these notes for it is we can provide these notes to the writers. To kind of get a bearing for them to see, is their writing getting these things across.
Mhm.
And I think having your script come back and be like, oh, it reminded me of, Parasite or Succession, or
Mhm.
um, but when I was writing it, I was thinking more of like this kinds of tone. That could be helpful, I think, for writers maybe.
To go back
Also,
in to give feedback back in to basically do
Mhm.
like a, you
Right.
know,
And in final genre slash subversion, what I didn't mention is that the AI will try the and based on the genre, they'll have different, you know, it's an action adventure. Is the pacing very quick? If it's like a rom-com, it'll be like, are there enough beats in the arc of the relationship? So,
Mhm.
and obviously we put that in champion. The writers want to subvert their genre. Use
Michael, we're losing you too much.
but
It's all
to,
these oysters are being, pearls are being thrown to swine, I guess, you know, or whatever I don't know. We're not getting it.
Okay.
You know, but I get
Did
the
you get
passion and I
anything?
get the thought, and I think we have enough. You know, it says I'm getting a blinking light saying actual recording is higher quality. I don't know what that's about, but
It'd have to be.
it would have to be.
Any of that?
Yes, we did, but I think we have to cut it because it's yeah, we're just too choppy. But
Sorry, it's really interesting. I'm sorry that the connection is so.
the AI doesn't like it. It's
freaky.
trying to block you from giving your opinion. Thank you, Michael. Yes, I think what people are hopefully going to gather from that is it is well thought out. It is carefully planned. I do think you're using the strengths and weaknesses of the AI to actually bring to our attention those things that should be brought to our attention. And I don't think that we're going to miss anything in the process, you know, so and we always have on record everything. So we can always, as new models come out, we can always go back and do another pass, which we will on all of them to be sure that anything that we've received is should be looked at and will be.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you,
And the last
Michael.
thing-
Yep. You got something else? Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I want to hear you, but
but yeah, everything is supposed to be as transparent as possible because we're trying to use it as a tool and not like a way to pass judgment. It's really meant as a tool to help us in the next step when we become readers and we want to champion scripts, help us find. That's all.
Yeah,
I think it's great, and for fresh writers and new writers who aren't in the habit or the discipline of outlining or whatever. I mean, one of the early pitfalls for me was just structure, balance, and painting myself into a corner until I started outlining. You know, you're doing an organic story, and the end of it, you're wondering, why is it so heavy? The front, why is it so light at the end? And I think that this is the perfect kind of tool to help you find that balance so that your story
well, I
comes
found
across.
I found that for you because you're amazing at character and dialogue, and structure was what you lacked. And I think
I'm the first to admit that.
But that's why the AI was so useful in helping you, I think, is because that's the thing that pattern matching, that structure, that story architecture is the thing. So people in that situation, I think, are the most blessed when it comes to AI. If you're a human who writes great dialogue and writes great characters, I think that the you know, the structure of it, the plot, the arc, all those things are things that can
everybody's going to have their strengths. I've never been a structuralist. My friends who are professional writers constantly bug me about it. But where I do excel is in the creativity.
100%.
And that for me
100%.
is
What matters most, I think.
Well, you know, half a dozen of one, you know, there's all kinds of different writers. And I guess what we're finding out is, aside from determining where, you know, which scripts will be elevated to here, there, or wherever, this tool and this process and is sort of a nice perk to be able to have the work assessed for, you know, for qualities that we can impose on it without destroying our creative process or without, you know, subverting the path of our personal story. It can give us a path to making what we're trying to say stronger.
Well, point blank, we just wouldn't be able to accept all these screenplays if we didn't have a tool like this. So now we can. I think that's
true.
just a
but,
win.
But I mean, even if
you know?
somebody doesn't get accepted at the moment, there's a path to improvement and a path for resubmission and a path for getting something to be the best version of itself through, you know, the help of the AI and also the help of the membership, who are, you know, all interested in finding material they can get behind, you know. So everybody sort of in this environment has the same desire to have their work be the best and be elevated and to help
Well,
others to
let's
make
talk
theirs the
about more
best.
of those if we can find those people. Michael, thank you very much. I'm going to see if there's anybody left who wants to come on and talk about their story and react to that.
Yeah,
but
Michael, that's not an easy task, and
it's not an easy task,
the-
and you're doing it well.
the integrity of trying to maintain everybody's storytelling is really, it's a great starting point for this to be a really great tool.
Thank you. We got Gabriel. What's going on?
We have Steve. We can try again. We can try Vaughn again, but I also have some questions in the chat here that I can read.
Okay. Why don't you try Steve? But if it doesn't work, please just read the questions. My butt was getting sore. Let's see. Hold on. And that's not a time for you to make a joke. Joe.
No, I wasn't. We'll learn.
Let's see. But this last slide was the crux of it. Okay.
Crux.
The crux. We got it. No, we got it. We got it, Michael. You did great. Thank you.
Michael's worked really hard.
He cares. You can tell he cares,
He cares
right?
a lot, and he cares a lot about everybody's work as if it was his own. He really is trying to preserve autonomy of storytelling and impose structure and all of the hits that a producer, anybody that's putting money behind you, will ask of you.
Yeah.
You know, and you can still pick your battles, right? We all pick our battles and decide which hill we're going to die on, but it's really nice to be able to pick from a whole basket of possibilities.
Yeah. And we have a great basket, a great assortment.
Braggart.
One of which is Steve. But Steve, we don't hear you, man. You don't know how badly I want to either.
Let's guess what Steve's story
Yes, let's
is.
guess what. Well,
It's a story of it's a coming of age story.
are we right?
It's a Yorkie and a automaton.
Okay.
I have a question here I can read in the meantime from Hyde. If our project is accepted
Heidi?
for auction, are we obligated to accept whatever anyone offers?
What?
Read
Hold
that
on.
again?
Read that again.
If our project is accepted for an auction, are we obligated to accept whatever anyone offers? I also flashed it on the screen there.
If our project is accepted for an auction, an auction? We're not auctioning any screenplays. Did she? We could, because you're an auctioneer.
I'm an
Right.
auctioneer.
You're an
I can do
auctioneer.
it.
How much did the Ruby Red Slippers go for in the end?
$32 million.
Oh my god! And the lightsaber? Did you end up selling the lightsaber, or was it not? Was it end up
Another
being not
competitor
real?
sold a lightsaber for 2.4, the hilt, Vader hilt.
Okay.
2.4 million. A Citizen Kane sled for 16 million.
Wow, that's crazy.
There's still money in vintage stuff. There's still money in those collectibles.
Well, I'm going to try to guess at her question a little bit because we did kind of answer that. But if your screenplay is recommended and I ask you as a writer, will you please let us try to make it? It's your option. It's your choice at that point to decide, yes, I'm willing to give it to you for $150,000. You're welcome to buy it if you have $150,000 and you want to buy it. And that's your choice. Or you could say, I'm willing to give you this screenplay, and in exchange, what I want is $150,000 worth of shares in the stock of the movie, if you want to think about it that way, for first dollar gross, just as if you were contributing money like an investor in the project. That $150,000 worth of value would be contributed alongside other people putting in $150,000 of cash. And in that case, you actually have a preferential treatment against that person. So you'd actually get even more shares than the person putting in cash. But the point is that you get to decide whether or not you're selling us your script or whether you're trading it for equity. And we just then decide whether or not we think it's worth paying $150,000 for. And that's going to depend on a lot of other factors, like, are we able to get a director attached to it? Are we able to attach talent to it? Are we able to, get people to contribute the fund? Do I, as the GP of our fund, want to invest money in this project based on how much and what kind of reaction it's receiving from audiences and people who read it. So you don't have to take whatever anyone else. That was she was saying. You don't have to take whatever anyone else options you or tells you, but you do have to make a decision up front as far as what you're willing to let it go for and what your what your reasoning for doing that is. So I don't know.
So the writer,
Go ahead. Oh, you asked it. Yeah.
well, the writer is involved in decision making up to the point that they release it to the system.
I explained this to PJ earlier, but
Uh-huh.
basically, if a writer is willing to trade their project for equity,
Right.
They preserve the right to be able to decide who the director is of that film.
I guess what I'm asking is when is their decision from a writer or somebody like a writer about what their desired budget is and what they want their film, what resources they want in order to make the film that they want to make. For example, once it's released, does the system decide, what a appropriate budget is for something? And if they decide that it's $30,000, is that something that
So the critical step there
Mhm.
is that the writer has the choice to pick the director if assume they give her equity, and from there it's really the director's show. So
got it?
they can ask for $1 billion. But if we look at it, look, there's only an audience for $1 million. We're unlikely to want to support that movie.
And we can make
being
this
made.
for this much money, for example. Budget being appropriate to whatever the scale of the production is based on what you read in the script, right? So if I was a writer said, here's my little intimate, vampire movie. It's a 3-hander. There's 3 people in it, and it's on 2 locations, one exterior and one interior, and I want $50 million for it. You would say, well, we've assessed this we can make this for 2.5, or we can make this for 1.2, whatever. That's a feature of the system,
The
right?
director could come up with a budget for $50 million, but there'd have to be investors willing to contribute
To pay
$50 million
at that level.
to
Okay.
get the movie made, right?
it.
And that's going to be harder a harder ask
For
than
sure.
you're asking for 2.5. But if but there's no saying that you can't. But yeah, you can ask for whatever you want.
But the writers,
Not the writer isn't doing that.
control
Yeah.
over things like budgetary considerations.
It
production,
ends at
everything
selecting
ends when
the director being
comes on
attached,
board,
and the
then it
writer can
becomes their production.
yeah, and the writer can elect to make themselves the director. In a lot of cases, they're the writer, director, producer, and so they can be that person themselves. But the writer isn't producing the film unless they're attaching themselves as the director. But they're, I guess, having said that, Todd is around, and I'll see if he can come on. But that's a good time to try to get him in the chat. He's
I
been
have a couple
involved the
of
entire
questions here too. I
time.
can flash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Flash some questions. I'm gonna see if I can get Todd on. Todd Russell, the writer of The Carrier. Let's see.
Where should we send our pitch decks?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't send pitch decks. Just the script right now. And then once it's selected, and that's kind of rotten because I did say I really liked PJ's pitch deck, but that had nothing to do with it being selected, and we're not going to be looking at those. When readers end up reading them, they're not going to be looking at pitch decks to decide whether it goes to the next step. So I would hold off would be the answer. Hold off on sending any pitch decks at all. Please.
If our film is optioned, would we get the standard percentage of the budget up front?
Who can that person come on camera and ask that question? Because who's getting the standard percentage of the budget up front? What does that mean? Paid to them? A percentage of the budget paid to them for an option?
Vaughn, do you want me to try to pull you in one more time?
They opt for the cash.
There's a lot of things in there that I'm imagining that they could be asking, and I just don't want to keep guessing it. So normally, if you're a WGA screenwriter, the option amount is usually 10% of the purchase price. and that's the option amount for a WGA screenwriter. So I don't know if that's the question that they're asking. We're actually not doing an option agreement for WGA screenwriters. We're either doing a shopping agreement, and then at the moment that we have enough information to decide whether or not we're going to green light it, then we would give them the purchase amount, which is the scale amount. So with a WGA, there's a shopping agreement, which is, again, which we're not paying for the shopping rights, and which is non-exclusive. So it's really not, like holding them to anything. It's just allowing us to, have a piece of paper that says we can shop it to these investors and alongside, and they could pull the rug out from under us at any point if they chose to. I would hope that they wouldn't, but in any case, it's a weird question. Are they there to ask it on camera or not? Or do they feel bad now that I said it was a weird question?
I don't believe I can pull them in. They said that's what they meant, so I think.
Oh,
they
okay.
got on the right track.
Okay. And I guess, are they a WGA writer? Because that would only apply if they were a WGA writer. If they're a non-union writer, they wouldn't get the 10% option amount for a WGA writer scale. They wouldn't have the privilege of that unless they are a WGA member. They would just get, if they said, hey, I would like this to be, 0 to 100% of the scale, they would get that paid to them at the moment that it was greenlit, assuming that there was somebody that wanted to buy that. Then they would get that amount paid to them at the moment. September 21st would be the date in which that would happen or not happen for them. Or September 22nd, sorry. Tuesday,
Which is
September 22nd. It's September Tuesday. September. All right. Should I call, see if I can get a hold of Todd?
We have another question from Steve here.
But I wish Steve could come on. We can't get his darn audio, but okay. What's up, Steve?
Are using AI to estimate budget?
We're using AI for everything, Steve, is the answer. Everywhere we can possibly leverage it as a tool, we are. We also, in the same way that we're using it, and then we have humans that do the real work, do more work at the end of it. We do have an AI model that will do some budget estimation. Not only that, but we have an AI model that will actually has already successfully completed full budgets, submitted them to tax incentive jurisdictions, and qualified and got accepted. So we've done a 4th level of detail, full Movie Magic budget from the top sheet all the way down, drilling all the way down to complete an accurate budget that's overseen by experienced line producers that have agreed that we're doing a really good job at that particular piece of it. But so yes, I think that there's already, if you've seen your review, and this is not the latest model that we're using, but when you saw your review of the screenplay, it should provide some comparables and some example budgets of what that is. I've seen those being accurate and off, so that's a mixed bag from what I've seen from this one. But the short answer is yes, we are using AI to give us a rough idea when we see a script of what we think it might be reasonable to expect for it to cost, within some range.
Getting very advanced.
Everything, yes. And I wish he was there for a follow-up question on that. If I could ask him sort of whether he likes that or hates that or doesn't care or was just curious why he asked that question. If you've seen it work or not work or, but anyway, okay.
I hear the next iteration of AI will be eligible to be put away for insider trading.
Wait, what?
In
For
jail.
real? We can just lock it up.
You can lock it up.
Put it in a gap.
Yeah. In its little box. It's interesting. The questions are really great questions about the nuts and bolts of the process, which is great.
Well, I actually want to option these. We didn't get to talk about necessarily the whole picture, but I want to option I want to basically I want to read a bunch of these movies and move them forward. And we have to sign agreements to be able to do that. And so hopefully the questions are real and they'll lead to answers that make people feel comfortable and understand. We just want to freaking make their movie.
It's interesting talking about all of this conceptually, because what I know from knowing you so long and watching this develop is you know, in your first slate of potential scripts, there were writers from all different walks, first time writers, people that were union members, people that have had things up, you know, just a
Made, yeah.
whole variety of people that sort of, you know, once they got their feet under them as far as the
And
way
I like
the
those being able to
process
sit next to
works.
each other. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this person's a first time writer.
Yeah.
This was elevated just as much as this
Yeah.
person who's done it a bunch of
Yeah.
times. And I don't think that's not always the case. I think that's a good example of how it is and ultimately meritocratic,
As
right?
much,
I mean,
yes, and as much of the nuts and bolts as you discuss, as much as technical as you can get. Basically, what it comes down to always for me is that it's returning the power and investment of the artist to the process of making stuff, and it's giving everybody an opportunity to have transparency in the result, and to have decided how much they want to profit. You know, how much investment they want to make, where they're going to make it, and ultimately they have autonomy over what the result can be for them, the best of all possible worlds, or you know, otherwise. But
Yeah.
you kind of get to decide what path you want to take in watching your script become a film, you know, or a movie or a project. That's really exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
what would we be talking about 15 years ago? Who's going to give us permission to do this?
yeah.
You know, who's gonna say yes? And I mean, I'm an old timer, man. I knocked on, you know, I
Don't those
knocked on
people feel the same
100
way about us, that
doors.
we're just the people that get to
Yeah.
say yes? Don't they
I,
feel like they're
but I knocked on 100 doors to get a maybe. You know what I mean?
yeah.
This is all, come one, come all. Everybody's welcome. Everybody will be subjected to the same scrutiny and to the same process. But the difference is, unlike this business, which it's been a business of nah, pass, and they'll never talk to you again. This is a sort of a business of try again. You know, if you happen
Yeah.
to be in that.
Well, and I love that where people
um,
have written me back and been like, okay, I didn't get an 80, but I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to come back. It's like, okay, well,
that's
talk to
great.
me when that happens.
That's
You know what I mean?
great,
Because
because there's so many great stories that we lose by discouraging people. You know, somebody has a beautiful story that is unlike anybody else's, but maybe they lack the craft at the moment because this is new for them or whatever. It's terrible to think that it will be lost to posterity because nobody says try again.
yeah.
Not right now, but try again. You know,
That's why I think it's super motivating to just have a fixed bar, like a fixed
Mhm.
bar, like get to this level
Mhm.
of craft and championability or this score,
Mhm.
and we're going to be excited about
Yeah.
reading your thing and try our best to get people in front of it to package it to
I've
make
read,
it.
I've
You
read
know,
hundreds of scripts with you, 100 scripts with you,
at
and there's
least.
never been a time when we've opened one not hoping that it was going to be a home run. So this
Yeah.
is definitely, you're a person that wants everything to be.
I think
Great.
actors have. I've heard casting directors say the same thing. It's like well,
Mhm.
good ones anyway. Every time
Mhm.
somebody walks in the room, they want them to be
Sure.
so their job's over. They can stop looking.
You want to
Like
find the perfect
this
person.
is the person.
You want to discover the first perfect person.
Yeah.
You want to find people to champion. They want, you know, and you know, in this huge.
I'm
morass of everything.
discovering projects that are both first time people, like Devante, who's in our group.
Mhm.
And I'm also I'm discovering them for the first time, but they've been around for 30 years
Sure.
trying to make their thing and
Mhm.
being told no. And,
Working on other
you know,
people's stuff, polishing
yeah.
other people's stuff, you know, quietly behind the scenes, honing their craft and being as good as anybody, but just never having their story put to the front. I mean, everybody like us, I mean, we come from the same place. We come from little towns. You from rural PA, me
You from
from
your little
Hawaii,
island. Yeah.
an island. And, you know, that's no different than any place in Middle America, or who knows, Timbuktu, where you sit, you want to participate, you try your best with whatever resources you have, zero to some, and you learn to contribute. And at some point you hit a wall. You know, in my generation, you hit a wall. It's like you didn't know the right person to get you in the door to even get a yes, or you took a shot and the wrong script reader was there. You know, an 18-year-old script reader that was just fresh out of college and didn't understand the vernacular of anything you did. You never know where the lotto is going to pay off or it's not for you. So to have a standardized system that has fair rules for everybody and doesn't close the door on you if you don't succeed the first
Yeah, and I'm
time.
hoping that
That's
we
a
don't just
wonderful
provide it.
thing.
I just don't want to provide a scapegoat for people to say, oh, well, it was the AI, just like the 18-year-old that didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully they're not going to just make that as the excuse, or hopefully that won't be the reason.
That's the risk
Yeah.
of transparency. And a lot of people aren't transparent because they don't want to take a risk of people being disappointed or disgruntled or attributing some sinister, plot to it. But the more transparent you are, the more people get used to the idea that they're going to go through it. The system is going to judge on these criteria. And as I said, I immediately started to trust the criteria because the result was great and it wasn't infringing on the things I was worried about with AI.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think as people experience it more and more, they'll come to trust what they can of it. They'll come to help us educate AI so that it's not overstepping and that it's doing the work of enhancement and support as opposed to the work of taking your work away.
Yeah.
And that, there's a lot of great uses for it already. But I just love the idea as an artist. I love the idea that I can come, potentially fail, but not have the door slammed in my face. I can wake up to another day, repurpose, rework,
resubmit,
and
boom.
resubmit. And that's something that doesn't happen in this business right now. People are, judged. It's like, it's not, that was terrible. What are you doing next? That was terrible. Don't ever darken my doorstep again, and and it's all subjective. So this is really a great step up for artists to maintain autonomy over their work, to share in profit transparently, and to have as much participation and decision in the life of their story as they care to take. And how can that be bad, right?
I'm sure somebody will post that it is.
You know what? I'm in the auction business. It doesn't matter if God comes down from the mount and says, "These are my robes." There will be 10 people in the crowd that say, "No, they're not. What do you think you are?" It doesn't matter. So
hey,
people are always going to exist.
We've got Todd Ressler, who is the writer of The Carrier, who we've been working on for quite a long time now, getting made. I want to have him introduce himself, introduce The Carrier, talk a bit about, there he is in his man cave, probably getting ready to watch the Knicks. They're not on tonight, are they?
Are they on tonight? They won the championship last night. Are you that out of touch that they just?
I'm messing with
went
you. This
yesterday?
is supposed to have been aired before, recorded before. That's okay. You're giving it away. Spoiler alert. All right. So tell me, Todd, are you a good person? Because I think
you now, or have you ever been a good?
Because I think this is your story, and you're going to tell me about The Carrier and what happens, and it's kind of a malicious plot that you've invented. And I know it wasn't this. I know your inspiration for it, but you can share it with others. But I feel like this is your story. So tell us, introduce yourself, introduce The Carrier, introduce your relationship to me and this project, and then let's have a couple questions.
Yeah. So Chris and I have been at it for a couple of years. I wrote the script actually all the way back in 2000 and entered it. I'm sorry, 2020, not that long ago, and entered in contests in 2021. So it's been about 5 or 6 years since I wrote the script. The logline is the CEO of a struggling health insurance company devises a scheme to kill the highest cost claimants to increase profits and drive the stock price up. And that sounds really dark, and it is dark, I guess, but I tried to make that idea as funny as possible. This is really dark comedy and a satire in the vein of Network and Dr. Strangelove or some of the main inspirations. And it's, just an idea I had. I work in health insurance. I'm obviously a huge movie fan and a movie buff and have been my whole life. And this is the second script I wrote, so it wasn't my first stab at writing a screenplay. When I had the idea for the script, I knew it was a great idea for a movie, wrote a first draft, entered in some contests, got some feedback. I must have entered 50, 60 contests over the course of about 2 or 3 years, which sounds crazy, but I loved it more for the notes than anything else. I love notes on my scripts because it's a kind of a chance to talk about your movie before there is a movie. But, there's nothing I like more, and you can see how much I love movies, than talking about movies. So I love notes. I love perfecting the script, making it better. And then eventually I started getting some semifinals. Eventually I started winning some contests, third place finishes in contests. I got a manager from that. I had a director interested and still interested in a low budget $350,000-ish version of the movie, but that wasn't really where my head was at. And I knew I wrote a good script, and I wanted, once I was getting, winning contests, I wanted to get it in front of Hollywood. One of the contests, even after winning the contest, was called The Titans. I ended up meeting the 2 huge producers. I'll tell the story quickly, but one of them was named Patrick Crowley, who worked on all the Bourne Identity and Jurassic Park movies. Another one was Ed Donnell, who just won awards for being the showrunner on Shogun, which won a ton of TV awards, but he's been a movie producer forever. He worked on Three Kings with Mark Wahlberg. He worked on the one with Jake Gyllenhaal and it was really and Hugh Jackman. What is that one called? Prisoners.
What did he say to
So-
you? What did he say?
Prisoners.
Okay.
Anyway, what they said is my main character, even after winning all these contests, was not dynamic enough. I had kind of two lead characters, and they liked the script a lot, but they're like, look, if I want to get this in front of Jake Gyllenhaal or somebody like that, the level that a script has to be from an unknown writer to get in front of those people is here, and yours is really good, but it's not quite there. So even after winning contests, I went back and did a page one rewrite with their notes. And with that version of the script, I was kind of in an awkward position. I'd already sort of pitched it to Hollywood, but nobody'd seen that version. And I just went out again, posting it on boards and stuff. Within a week or 10 days, Chris reached out to me with that version that was in the marketplace. I don't even know where you found it, Chris.
And how did I tell you that we should cast it? And then what's been the 2-year process, and where are we at now?
So Chris's dream, and it makes a lot of sense. First of all, Chris's favorite movie is The Outsiders. I don't know if you guys know that. So The
One of them.
Outsiders,
Okay.
yeah, you've told me many times, is among your favorite movies. We
Well,
all
it
have our
is
listing.
among it for a very specific reason, because it had a. Yeah, go ahead. You can tell them why.
Well,
Go
anyway,
ahead.
the idea there, he's like, oh, I want to find the next cast of unknowns. You know, the next people that has like the Tom Cruise and the Patrick Swayze's before they're big, and that worked great in that movie. First of all, it was based on a award-winning book. You had the Godfather director as the director of it, so you could cast unknowns, and it was easier to market. My feeling with my script, and I in particular wrote a CEO main character. I wanted somebody with some gravitas to play it. But I also felt if there was nobody famous in this movie, that nobody would want to see the movie. So Chris's idea of casting everybody through Actors Access and just finding a really good, let's say Aaron Eckhart, before he was in the movie that kind of put him on the map, that like disturbing office drama, he was what Chris had in mind. My goal was like, no, I want to get, as big a director as we can find for this. And if we can get Ryan Gosling, I want Ryan Gosling. If we can get Matt Damon, I want Matt Damon. And I wanted to go down the list and try to get the best actor we could possibly get. So in that, Chris, to his credit, and you can tell them why, he listened to me and said, okay, we'll go down that road. And he has worked with me to, basically try to get in front of some of, starting at the very, very top within reason. I mean, we wouldn't go to Tom Cruise or Leonardo DiCaprio, but I mean, we were literally, reaching out to the agents for everybody else I just mentioned and seeing who's available, who's not. Eventually we got a list of, don't even waste your time. We're not, and that's the Ryan Gosling's, Damon Affleck, Sam Rockwell. There was a list of people that are like, we're too busy. I totally get that. And then of the people that maybe, we went down our list and we offered, the offer to a lot of actors that said no, surprisingly to me. And I ultimately got to a place where we're now with Jay Moore, and I don't know if he's officially accepted or not, but we're close. I think he'd be amazing in the movie. He's obviously not an A-list star, but he's a big enough star, I think, to attract co-stars that are going to be good actors also. And I personally, I have a Boogie Nights poster back there. That to me is my favorite cast in a movie. I think casting is 80% of it. If you get great actors, you're going to be in a great place. And for
we
my
spent a
movie,
lot of
I
time
want that.
chasing A-list actors and a lot of time with agents and waiting in between, one at a time, a long road. So that accounts for the gap. I'm happy with it. You didn't mention our director and that
Yeah,
process.
so before any of the actors went out to, like, how long now? 2 years probably. Mark Burley has been attached. Mark Burley is from television, but he's a producer and director of Weeds. He's a producer and director of Orange is the New Black, Glow. He has multiple Emmy nominations for all those shows. He directed the series finale of Orange is the New Black. I'm happy that he's directing the movie because he really wants to direct this movie. And those shows, in particular, Weeds, the tone of that show is kind of exactly very close, maybe not exactly, probably a little more comedic and a little more broad. But Weeds is at least in the wheelhouse of the tone I'm looking for, which is not that easy to, I think, replicate, or, you can screw it up if you're not careful. So I think Mark is more than capable of doing it, and also brings some, creds to this, where somebody like Jay Moore, he's not working with a first-time director, right? Like he's okay. They met, and he's like, okay, cool. Mark has done all this. I'm comfortable enough that he knows what he's doing enough to go into this. And there are plenty of movies where, a 23-year-old first-time director can work with a young cast of 18-year-olds and it'll be a horror movie and it's right for that movie. And we're seeing that, right? So it's all about what this is. But I made a movie kind of like Network, and it's a lot of, 45-year-old and 50-year-old actors in it and parts. And, for that, I wanted somebody a little more, again, experience, gravitas. I think it would be tough for a 25-year-old director to pull off what I'm going for here, no matter who they are, because it's just the world weariness that Mark brings at his age is something you can't teach and needs to be in the movie. So I'm delighted that he's directing this. And he also wanted the biggest actor we could get and was happy to be patient while we went through our process.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
That's
and
the
I mean,
Carrier. I love, you're obviously a fan. I can see it in the background, and you haven't even showed the DVD collection yet. But
well, yeah, I mean, I obviously love movies, and like this is done not as, I mean, I hope I make $1 trillion on this, but this is just a passion for me. I love movies. I knew I had a great idea for a movie. I don't write a lot of scripts. It's the second script I ever wrote. It's the second idea I felt like I had to get out of me and get down on paper and try to market, because I knew in my bones that if I got the script to a level where it was worthy, it was a good enough idea. It's hard to come up with a good log line that's going to instantly grab people, and I knew I had that, and that kept me going, because every single, not just me, everybody I told it to instantly was like, that is a great idea for a movie, and that's hard to come up with. So that's a good start, and if you have that should fuel you, because it's not easy to get to a point where a script is producible. Like I said, like I had a script that was winning first place among thousands of screenplays, and then I got on with Patrick Crowley, Bourne Identity producer. He's like, I couldn't get Matt Damon to act in this movie. I'm like, it just won. He's like, yeah, I don't care. It's like, it's really good, but it's not. He's like, it's like, it's not at the level those actors need it to be. And I'm like, that was a wake up call, but it also shows how high the bar is, and if you want it, you got to get it to that level. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
I'll open it. I can talk all day about this stuff, but yeah, please, if anyone has questions or you have questions, Chris, please.
Well, I don't want anybody to think it's going to take 2 years, or that we're going to spend 2 years, trying to make everyone's movie. Our fixed process from here on out is between now and September 21st, we will know whether or not, the project is going to go forward. And then in that time, we'll be able to either revert the rights to them if it doesn't get made, or to put it into production. And as far as the Carrier goes, I'm hoping, with the attachment of I don't really want to speak about him because it's not done yet, but like with the attachment of Harold as the main actor, I think, and all the supporting cast that can then bring, I'm hoping that we also along the way are making the Carrier outside of this other process. So I just want to say that, I guess with Todd and the Carrier, we have been working on this a while. This doesn't fit into the same bucket. We're going to sort of guarantee, assuming we can pull the elements together that we need, to make it happen, that we're committed to producing it and releasing it as soon as possible. So I think it's a great script, and it's timely, and I love all the work that you put into it, and I'm glad that you had to work as hard as you did to be able to get to the point where it's at now. And I appreciate you, saying that to everyone else who's listening, that it's not necessarily easy, but hopefully it'll ultimately be worth it. And I guess I love hearing you only needed to make $1 trillion out of it. That's good.
Nobody doesn't want to make money, but to me, I know how hard this business is. It took them 17 years to make Dallas Buyers Club. That's not because the script wasn't good enough, right? It's just hard, and you have to accept that and put the work in, and it doesn't have to take this long. It can happen much, much faster, but it's never easy. Ask Martin Scorsese if he thinks this business is easy.
His name keeps coming up today. I don't know why, but yes, I'm sure everybody, including the top, I guess, knows.
It took him 6 years to make Killers of the Flower Moon. 6.
Wow.
It's hard freaking work.
So are you in for another 4 then?
As long as it takes. I told you, I want to win the Oscar, but I just don't want it to be posthumously. I want to be here for it.
Yeah.
That will do me no good. It's going to win. I'm going to win Best Original Screenplay. I just wanted to happen while I'm here. That is my goal. I told Chris the first time we spoke, I only wrote this movie because that's what I want to have happen. And I've worked as hard as I possibly can to get in a position where am I dreaming? Sure. Is it ridiculous that? Yes. But that's, I don't think anybody that got there where they are. I mean, Matt Damon and Affleck, they wrote a script trying to win Best Original Screenplay, and they did. It's like you have to at least have goals. So I don't know. I'm sure. Put it this way, if I only get a nomination, I'll be happy, and hopefully I'll at least get that. We'll see. It's up to you, Chris.
Thank you, Todd. That's enough. I appreciate it. I can't wait to actually just be on set with you. And again, so I guess you can speak to other writers. Like clearly, you've been you've been involved in the entire process. Not to say that that's going to be the case for everyone, but I mean, like, you've been in every meeting and every call,
Yeah.
and
One thing about Hollywood is they famously cast writers aside, almost instantaneously once a project is, even at a whiff of getting developed. And that hasn't been the case at all. It's been the total opposite. Like Chris and Mark, the director, also have not only included me in every meetings, but I feel like could, kind of let me drive some of the, the ordering of casting, let's say, and kind of the movie we're looking to make, like the tone, what how comedic are we looking to get here? And it's been a pleasure also to just be involved in all of that, because you don't always get that, and rarely get that unless you are also directing and producing and putting the money up. You can do whatever you want, but just as a writer, which is a rare thing these days, that's been a pleasure so far. Hopefully that will continue once we get the cast. I'm waiting for the casting, every actor to have line ideas, right? I haven't had to deal with that yet, so we'll see. I'm more than happy to talk to them. Can't wait. But,
all right,
yeah,
man.
so far, I mean, it's been a pleasure working with these guys. So, yeah,
thank you, Todd. Thank you.
Of course, Chris.
Have a good one.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, Chris.
See you later.
Bye.
Is that it? Can we close it up here? What, Gabriel? We're hungry. We want to go eat. We good?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple more questions, but
ask them if we have a couple more questions.
Julio asks, if a project set outside the United States moves forward, how would you envision production working? Would you look for local production partners and co-productions, or would projects generally need to be produced through the U.S. system?
I love that. I think Julio's in Spain, isn't he? Plus 9 hours, up really late, I guess, or up early, 9. No, we're replicating this around the world. I went to school in Paris, lived in Hong Kong, lived around the world. It's an international business. We're from the get-go. We're going to be an international company. In terms of the co-production specifically, we're actually creating local entities in every place that we're going to work, mainly Europe next. But also Korea and Japan and some other places. So it does not need to be produced in the U.S. It does not even have to be intended for a U.S. audience or an international audience. It could be a Spanish movie for Spanish speakers, where we have a technology we're using to actually convert that into a better form of dubbing than you've seen ever in terms of a Spanish speaking movie. One in particular, the one that you like, House of the Deaf Man, shooting that entirely in Spain in Spanish, and translating that into English or dubbing that into English in such a way that it doesn't take you out of it when you watch it. So we have a plan to be able to produce movies anywhere. So I'm actually encouraged and happy if you're not in the U.S. and that you can broaden us to shoot in some other place. So yeah, Julio. Is it Julio? Right?
He said Portugal specifically.
Portugal specifically. I don't know what Portugal's tax credit system is like. So if they have tax incentives or not, we're trying to get, that's part of the way that we're financing them. So I'd have to look at what the budget of the film was and what the tax incentives are, if there are any existing in Portugal, if we were to shoot in Portugal specifically. But there's nothing stopping us from being able to. It just matters the particulars of that project and, what's happening there. But yeah, no, we're not limited by geography in any way, shape, or form. So what was the other question?
For screenplays that were scored, if they were scored like low, like a 75, would a low budget help them?
First of all, if they were scored 75, that's not low in my mind. No, it's not not immediate recommend, but that's super close. In what way would a low budget help them? I mean, the only way that a low budget would help them, I guess, would be that they have less people they'd have to convince to give them money, or less money to have to invest in making it, and the higher the percentage of the ownership they would have over the movie as the writer, so that would help them if the budget was lower. The budget itself would have to matter. Can you actually tell the story that needs to be told within the amount of money that you're given? I want to reduce costs as much as possible. So the lower the budget, probably the better, but there's a line there in which you make compromises that you don't want to make. So we want to right size the budget for every production. So, and yes, if you're trying to make $300 million Space Odyssey, probably you're not going to do that. Maybe we'll make it with AI, but you better have, I guess James Cameron attached didn't have at least as good a script as Avatar, but yeah, I mean, lower budget can't hurt, I guess, and it could help, but it's not limiting factor. Is that it? We good? Gabriel, this was horrible technical difficulties today.
Yeah, a lot. We got through it though. We're here.
We got through it. We made it. That's right. That's it. And hopefully we have some useful footage that we can edit together. And I'm sure Drew will be happy to get all of this footage to
I'll
figure.
dub Michael for you.
You dub Michael for me. You the ADR for Michael. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, let's sign off then. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Jomo,
me. It was
Chris
really
Amel,
fun.
Gabriel. Thank you, Gabriel. We're actually ending it now. Please, let's stop at exactly 2:50. Can you try to hit the button and send us out at 2:57, 58, 59? Goodbye. We're still live, Gabriel.